series against their arch rival Cubs, 2-1, and a brilliant performance by Liberatore and Dobbins with early offense gets the Cardinals the win.
It was a fun game last night. Audio courtesy of Peacock and NBC as Jason Benetti was on the call alongside the one, the only Albert Pujols. Alex, that was a fun one last night. Cardinals win 2 out of 3 over the weekend against the Chicago Cubs, a weekend in which almost 40,000 fans were in the stands for each of those 3 games. T-Bone was down at the ballpark on Saturday night, taking it in as a spectator. Alex, the Cardinals have shown the urgency that we were all waiting for. As I was in Colorado last week, appreciate you guys holding things down for me here on BK and Ferrario. I saw the announcement, the news. I think this was right as you guys were getting off the air.
Yeah, we got back-to-back days with big news at 1:45.
The owners presented a cap, and then Cardinals are making a bunch of roster moves.
So on Friday, we get the text, hey, Jimmy Crooks is getting the call up. It's like, hot damn, didn't think that was coming. And then they also added Nelson Velazquez to the roster. And if that wasn't enough yesterday, they say, hey, here's a Sunday surprise. How about Hunter Dobbins thrown into your lap? Like, oh, okay. Hot damn, here we go. I think the one question that Cardinals fans were a little curious about still was, are they going to show the urgency? Are they going to make these moves that we've all kind of been waiting for? What's the situation with Jimmy Crooks? Are they going to make the moves in the bullpen that we were wondering on? Well, they finally did it over the weekend. Alex, what was your reaction to the roster moves, how it impacted the weekend, and overall what you saw from the Cardinals against the Cubbies?
Surprised by all of them. Like, I was surprised at the roster moves when they went down. I mean, we were just as surprised about Velazquez as we was Jimmy Crooks. I mean, we had the conversation of like, look, if Crooks is going to be here, he's going to play. And I know, T-Bone, you were like, I don't think so. I think it's going to be, he's just that bat, and we'll figure out where they go. Well, then you get the news later that afternoon that it's like, hey, Crooks is not just here to show and sit on the bench. Like, Pages is becoming Pozo, and Jimmy Crooks is going to get more starts. Them putting Velazquez on the 40-man roster and getting him up to the major leagues, I didn't expect it. And maybe that's just me because I'm used to the old Cardinals ways to where it's like, 40-man roster move, man. We can't do it. Who are we going to DFA when you've got somebody that's going? And for an entire week, I felt like we kept coming to the show in our prep, and the first segment of the first hour, 5 through 9, man, can't hit. This team can't get any offense. They went into a series that I kind of felt like you really needed to win if you're the Cardinals for how the previous 3 NL Central series went. You had a little more pressure on you to like, hey, you're going to have to show up against the Cubs, and your offense was floundering at least beyond your top 4. That was a move Cardinals of years past don't make. They would have just went back to it and reshuffled the deck 5 through 9, maybe put a different player in a position. They're not making that 40-man roster move. They're not going to bring up Velazquez to the 40-man roster and put him in the lineup and bat him 4th immediately, and they're not bringing a Jimmy Crooks up there to provide some offense. So I was very pleased by the Cardinals, because that's an aggressive move from an organization that, yes, you're rebuilding, but, man, you got to strike while the iron's hot. And right there, the team was in a position where you needed some help.
I don't know if they make that move or don't, but what I do think they had a good feel for was the timing of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there had been a lot of fans that had been calling for Jimmy Crooks to be up for a couple of weeks, right? But the team kept saying, hey, there's more boxes to check. We need to see X, Y, and Z. And I think you could look at the numbers, and it was real. It wasn't one of those things that they'd be selling you, and you're like, I don't know, man. He's batting 400. I understand he's striking out 25% of the time. Does that matter? There were real strikeout problems for Jimmy Crooks. Now, I think some of those are going to show up in the major leagues. I am very curious to see what this thing looks like over the next month. I think there may be some buyer's remorse would be my early prediction for the Jimmy Crooks thing. But he had done enough at the AAA level to warrant this opportunity. And I think Nelson Velazquez had heated up enough to where, again, he had warranted this opportunity. You had some chances against left-handed pitchers over the weekend. He is a guy that is a little bit splitty. You didn't really have a right-handed bat that you trusted in that spot. And the Jimmy Crooks move also opened up more opportunities for an extra bat in the lineup, especially against those left-handed pitchers. So in tandem, I thought the two moves made a ton of sense to happen simultaneously on Friday. The timing of that with the team going into a bit of a malaise. You mentioned it, the 5 through 9 in your order had not been producing. I thought it was just the right timing for this. And then you immediately see it pay dividends on Friday night. And I thought it went even beyond that. Ollie Marmol's managing over the weekend, I thought, was aggressive in all of the right ways. You went out there and on Friday night, he wanted to make sure they won that game. He locked that thing down. What was it, 3 innings by Palante?
Yep. He said, Palante don't got it. We're going to the pin.
It's time. Turn it over. Let's go. Let's see what this looks like with our pin. And they got it done. And then on Saturday, he did get aggressive with the pin to try to keep that thing as close as humanly possible. They did keep it close for a while, and then T-Bone's favorite guy, Brule, came in there.
Yeah.
Bouchard wasn't very good either, and they said, get the hell out of town.
And then on Sunday, they bring up Hunter Dobbins to be able to cover those innings for the bullpen. So I thought it was an aggressive weekend for Chaim Bloom on Friday, making the moves that were necessary, and it was followed up by aggressive managing by Ollie Marmol, and it all amounted to a 2 out of 3 weekend against the Cubs. Pretty darn impressive by your Cardinals, T-Bone.
Yeah, I thought they had overall a good weekend because of what you're talking about. I think the roster management, I mean, we talked about it on Friday of it just screamed it was time to make a move. I wasn't certain that they were going to make the move, though, because I wasn't sure how they were going to get Crooks the playing time. Well, they ended up sending Pozo down, which was a little bit surprising. Even though he wasn't producing, it made all the sense in the world. And then Velasquez, how many times have we talked about I wouldn't call him a prospect, but a player down at AAA, turn the cover off the baseball, and then they strike while the iron is hot. Velasquez was not good in April, but he had really heated up in the month of May and was starting to do damage against lefties down there. So you call him up in the perfect time, and we said this at the time, it's the time to try and kick the Cubs while they're down, right? And they were able to do that. I love the roster manipulation that they did over the weekend. 5 through 9 was the worst in baseball through the first 2 months of the season. So you had to try and find a spark. You couldn't keep living off of what you had down there in the order. And then Ollie's approach to it was, hey, this is kind of a playoff series for us. You know, it's important to try and rack up these wins in the NL Central so you can potentially hold the tiebreaker in what's going to be an ultra competitive division this month, or this year, excuse me. So I love the fact that he was ultra aggressive this whole series, right? That was playoff baseball that you saw from Ollie, and the bullpen's become a weapon for him. You know, I don't think he does this in the first month of the season, not just because it's the first month of the season, but you didn't have a guy like Stanek that was pitching well that you could add to this mix. You didn't have a Graceffo that his numbers are very good.
Hold on, what was that again?
That Graceffo guy who's been pitching pretty well.
Oh, shut up. He gave up a run, still got 2 strikeouts. He's been great. You stop snarling up your nose.
I didn't think he was all that great over the weekend. What are we talking about?
I think
he's been awesome for a long time.
I think they've got Graceffo in a somewhat of a trust role right now. You know, I think it's kind of hit or miss depending on where the game is at. But I think when you look at that bullpen, it's become such a weapon that it allows Ollie Marmol to empty out the tank in a game like that. Otherwise, I think he would have stuck with Palante on Friday for a little bit longer if he didn't have about 5 arms that he could trust right now.
I will say this. Do you know that? Let me ask this a different way. He has inherited 17 runners so far this season, has Gordon Graceffo.
Yeah, Graceffo gets the crap. He just comes in the fire extinguisher roll, and, you know, one time the house lit on fire and you couldn't stop it.
How many of those 17 inherited runners do you think have come around to score?
Well, it clearly shocked you, so 1.
Yeah.
2. 2 out of 17. That's pretty damn good.
It was hold on, what?
Credit where it's due.
Okay.
That's awesome.
All right. I think we need to do the circle of trust and finally apologize to Ferrario and put him in like I asked for a week ago.
I do think that T-Bone's right. I think Gordon Graceffo was in their circle of trust. I don't know if he would be in my circle of trust, but I do think he is in theirs. It's good work over the weekend. Saturday sucked. Let's pretend that game didn't happen because that was ugly.
That was just a PCA game.
Yeah, he had to have one. Otherwise, what do you have in a Cards Cup series? It wasn't just that, though. It was also bad defense, bad base running. It was an ugly game. Just not a good game by the St. Louis Cardinals. But Friday was awesome. Yesterday was fantastic. Just really well done by everybody involved. And a lot of it was because of the aggressiveness on the managerial side of things, whether that's Ollie or Chaim Bloom. Credit to everybody involved. They made the moves that were clearly necessary. And once again, man, the Cardinals have done what they've done a lot this season, to where you have a couple of rough series to where you expect, because I thought the Cubs one was going to be like, hey, man, this might be where it falls out. June starts and things aren't pretty if you lose the series to the Cubs. But they rebound from a couple of rough ones and they win the series. And that's what you need to do if you're the Cardinals. Early this season, after it was the Seattle Mariners, and who was it prior to the Mariners? Was it the Marlins?
I don't remember.
There was a series prior to the Mariners.
Marlins.
They lost those two, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then they rebounded, and they took 3 of 3 against the Pirates.
In our defense, we didn't try in one of those games against the Marlins.
Understandably
it was a getaway
so.
day lineup.
Regardless, that's what your team needs to do. And now they're finally doing it, because last year they didn't do that. They'd lose 1 and 2 and then be like, uh-oh, here it comes.
So you have now seen 11 consecutive games against the other 4 teams in the NL Central. You go 4-7 in that stretch. Your offense had scored 2 or fewer runs in 6 of the 7 losses. It was very clear what had gone wrong. And on Friday, they tried to make some moves to be able to alleviate those issues, especially with the bottom half of your order. They reshuffle the position players. They make a legit change in the bullpen yesterday. We'll see if anything more is coming on that later on today. Alex, now that we have seen every team in the Central, finally, how would you stack it up? Where do the Cardinals stand in this division in your estimation?
Buddy, this might surprise you, but I'm going to have the Brewers alone at the top.
God bless.
I know you don't believe in them, because they can't keep doing this, right? I don't trust them. Brewers are the clear-cut number 1.
Somehow Jacob Mizorowski is better than any of the other starters that they've developed. He's the best of the bunch. Yeah. Did you see what he did this month?
Yeah, he had like a .38 ERA, and he's like, yeah, that's okay.
He was asked about it yesterday. They said, hey, what did you think about your month of May? He was like, yeah, it was pretty good. They said, you allowed 1 earned run. Yeah, that's all right.
Not good enough. Not good enough. I want more of that one. So they're by
108
themselves.
strikeouts in 70 innings.
Well, just wait till they go acquire another pitcher that none of us has ever heard of, and he'll go out there and just light it up for an entire month. I would have Cards Cubs at the same tier in the next level. Even though I know the Cards just beat the Cubs, I still think the Cubs are going to be a tough push down the stretch, same as the Cardinals. And then the Reds and Pirates, however you want to measure them on the other side. I don't think either of those. Pirates have really good pitching, but I don't think the offense can do anything with it. And the Reds just might be combusting before the end of June.
Yeah, I agree. Brewers is definitely by themselves up at the top of the division. My gut tells me Cardinals Cubs are in that second tier by themselves, but after watching them play through this entire stretch of everybody, I would currently, as they all sit today, just have Cards, Cubs, Reds, and Pirates all in the same tier. I'm still a believer in the Pirates because of the pitching. It's going to be able to mask up the stuff from the offense. The Reds, I don't understand how they're doing it, but they continue to play well to where they're able to float above 500, and they were able to earn a split in the Great American Small Park with the Cardinals. So right now, I would say it's just Brewers up at the top, and then everybody else is in the same tier in that second tier.
Death taxes and T-Bone thinking the Pirates are better than what they are.
This year they haven't fallen off yet, okay?
Not yet. I would have the exact same tier list as Alex does. Brewers at 1. I'm ready to acknowledge it. They're clearly the best team in the division.
He is.
And then it's
4
the
years
Cubs
later
with the Pirates. No, I always get to that place. It's just a matter of how long
but every year
to get there.
it starts the same way. The Brewers are good guys.
Yep. I always fall for somebody else. Typically, it's the Cubs. And then eventually I get to the exact same place where it's like, yeah, the Brewers are the best. It is what it is. So Brewers 1, Cards/Cubs tier 2, and then I've got the Pirates and the Reds in tier 3 as well. I think all of them are playoff contenders, or at least can aspire to make it to the postseason. Obviously, not all of them will ultimately get there, but I think the Brewers are the one real contender in the division. And even with them, I don't think that this is going to work in the playoffs again. And so, I am ready to acknowledge for the regular season, I am once again wrong. But as I have been right in previous years, I will once again be proven correct in the postseason when they fail again, because this specific formula just does not work in the playoffs. You're not a good enough hitting team. And in the playoffs, eventually you have to be able to hit good pitching, and they can't. So I will be proven correct eventually, but just not yet.
Wow, what a tone. Welcome back.
Well, I was proven correct with Graceffa, but you guys keep denying it, so.
It's 11:16, your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers and officially licensed Rolex jeweler.
Who cares, man?
Can I ask you guys a quick question on the broadcasts over the weekend?
Yeah.
Sure.
What'd you think of the Fox broadcast on Saturday?
I was at the game, so I
didn't hear it?
No, I heard a little bit of it, but I was kind of off and on. I was talking with people.
No bueno?
That play-by-play guy is wild, man.
Yeah. Not especially when it followed with the NBC, which made that game feel so much bigger.
Agreed.
Like when you start with Costas and Ozzie Smith and Anthony Rizzo and then transition to Albert Pujols, like that broadcast felt like I was watching Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
They made it big. So the Fox one, yeah, it was easily forgettable because of how big Sunday was.
Yeah, and I would go just like the broadcast in general was not well done in my opinion.
I
on
didn't
Friday.
think so.
And then on Sunday, on Saturday, and then Friday was good. That was the local one. But Saturday,
safe.
Just to be clear here,
Friday was good, guys.
I misspoke. Saturday's broadcast on Fox, no bueno. And then on Sunday, it was so good.
It was incredible.
Somebody on the text line said, what'd you guys think about Rizzo's shot at BFIB? Seemed a little petty for a national telecast. It's Anthony Rizzo on a Cubs-Cardinals game. I would expect him to take some petty shots at the Cardinals.
Some shots at him.
It's a Cubs-Cardinals series. I want the pettiness. I want the personal
100%.
shots. Did you hear Rizzo's story on Ollie?
It was great.
I can't wait to give Ollie some crap on that. That's amazing.
Yep.
If I'm Ollie, I'm sending him, for people that don't know, Rizzo basically, Ollie bet Rizzo they were going to come back in a game when Ollie was a first base coach when Cubs, and they came back. And Rizzo bet Ollie a house. He said, I'll buy you a house if you come back. And he said, Ollie just continues to send him Zillow ads of just like, hey, this house is for sale. Oh, I would be sending it daily.
And he told him it's going to go to extras and we're going to win. Ollie did, apparently. And Rizzo was like, dude, this was apparently before they had the Manfred man, so to speak. And Rizzo was like, I just don't want to go to extras, man. Like, come on, this sucks. Don't make me
Amen
do
to that, Anthony.
And they did end up going to extras, according to Rizzo's story.
Get it.
Cards ultimately
Ollie, just keep sending them. Tebow, maybe Ollie can get you to have Anthony Rizzo buy you a house.
That'd be awesome.
There you go.
314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. You can check us out on YouTube, as always, at youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. We are back all together for at least this week, and then I once again will be on vacation early next week.
I'm here, guys.
I'm here on Friday. I'll be out next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we got like 3 days this week together.
I'm here until mid-July, and then I get a couple vacations. So you got Ferrario for the next month and a half.
Well. Yeah.
This is my last time, and then I'm out. I'm here for the rest of the summer.
Look, we all have to find ways to get them in, because once hockey season starts, September to June, I'm here.
Coming up next, we all saw the villain that we deserve for this rivalry over the weekend. We'll talk about him next year on 101 ESPN.
Look at this. PCA hits it into the tarps off Crow. Take that for overrated. Walker into the gap, left center field. Run down by Crow Armstrong. What a ball game for PCA.
That's the call on Fox. Eric Collins on the call.
That's why you said the Fox call was terrible. Seemed like he enjoyed that PCA rundown a little bit too much there, Eric.
To be fair,
I kind of like it.
I did too.
that was well done by PCA on Saturday, man. This is exactly the kind of villain that this rivalry between the Cardinals and the Cubs deserves. Mm-hmm. If we're being honest, who was the last true villain in this rivalry? Like true
Cards,
villain
Cubs?
between the two teams.
Jason Hayward.
But was that... Did you really hate Jason Hayward?
Oh, I think people hated him when he made the statement of, I want to go to a team that's younger, which he wasn't
I think
wrong.
it was more hate from words, not from antics.
Yeah.
And I would say that's the same of Bryant. I think Chris Bryant was hate from his words, not his antics.
Oh, there was a respect for Bryant. You could hate him all you want, but there was a respect for what Bryant did early on. Like, that dude was awesome.
And
can
Hayward was proven right.
I was about to say, can I say something real quick?
He was absolutely proven right.
I think some of it was because they said the thing that your intrusive thoughts were thinking, but it's kind of that thing like, hey, I can pick on my little brother, but you can't pick on my little brother. Mm-hmm. Hey, we know that our city is not like LA, it's not New York, but you're not allowed to say that, Chris Bryant. You can't say that about us. Mm-hmm. Come on now.
Well, it's the same with the Blackhawks, because Patrick Kane, I think, said that during a Blackhawks thing during off-season stuff. So, like, yeah, like you hate the player for that stuff, and then it just adds on to it.
And we understand, Jason Hayward, our core is maybe a little bit on the older side of things, but you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to explain why you left for that specific
we're
reason.
Old, Jason, but you didn't do anything when you were here.
If we're talking on-the-field villains between the Cardinals and the Cubs.
Carlos Zambrano?
I think that's it, right?
Probably.
And that's what?
It might also be
Almost 20 years ago?
And I also liked Zambrano.
Lou Piniello, I would say it would be another one.
Yeah,
Dusty
and
Baker.
TLR.
Dusty, because remember TLR and Dusty
people
had that
hated Dusty.
altercation.
Yeah.
And that's, again, been 15 or 20 years. PCA is that. That guy has an extremely punchable face. Mm-hmm. He embraces it in some ways. Like, he kind of leans into being that kind of a villain of a guy on the field. And I think it's great for this rivalry, for that team. If he's on your team, you love him. If he's an opponent, you absolutely despise everything that there is about him. And that's fun. That's what pro sports are supposed to be all about. I didn't enjoy the fact that he was kicking your ass on Saturday. Mm-hmm. I kind of enjoyed watching that game, though, because sometimes you just have to tip your cap. Mm-hmm. And that guy won the game for the Chicago Cubs on Saturday. He was the best player on the field, and it might go down as the single best performance by any player other than Jacob Mizorowski against the Cardinals all season long.
Yeah, I found myself wishing horrible things on Pete Crow Armstrong in that game, so that tells you kind of where the rivalry started to go. But first of all, credit to the fans, because the reason Pete Crow Armstrong had the opportunity to do that was because they were vocal, right? Like, they're chanting overrated at Pete Crow Armstrong, and he had his opportunity for payback. And good for him. Like, as bad as that probably sucked for people of him mocking waving the tarps in the air around the bases, dude, he did what he needed to do, right? Like, that's what you want in a rivalry. You chirp one way, they respond, and then you get your opportunity to respond the next game. So we talked about this prior to the series when we asked, like, when was the last time the Cardinals had this heated of a rivalry to where, like, you felt like you just really didn't like that team? It's been a really long time.
Probably the Reds way back in the day, right?
With the Brandon Phillips front, or the Milwaukee Brewers when it was the postseason stuff with the Niger Morgan. But even then, it's like you're still, what,
that was
10,
a one-off,
12
right?
years? Yeah, that was a one-off at that point. But PCA is the reason that rivalry is there, because he is such a dislike. Brad Marchand has done this to a T in hockey.
Yes.
Tom Wilson
Great
has
comparison.
done this. Like,
I think Marchand's the great one because he's just a rat.
Yep.
Like, you see him on the ice and you hate him, but then you have to respect it.
Yep.
Because the guy is so unbelievably talented and grinds his ass off.
Yep.
Like,
and he's vocal.
I'll tip my cap.
Like, he knows he gets under the skin of the Maple Leafs fans when he was a Boston Bruin. And so every time they'd beat him, he'd milk it. And when PCA would have that moment, you milk it. That's how rivalries are born. So you can hate the guy. Don't make it personal, because people like to make it personal with this stuff. Hate it. And then it makes the rivalry that much more enjoyable because you want to see them beat.
I feel that way about Max Crosby in the NFL. When your team is going up against Max Crosby, it is a nightmare. That guy is absolutely relentless from the start to the finish of the game. I would love to have Max Crosby on my football team, though. It would be amazing, but he will talk trash the entire game. He's going to get after your dudes. Like, it is a nightmare to go up against him. There is something unique about certain athletes that can raise their game in that kind of a pressure cooker situation. PCA did all of that on Saturday.
And he's done it for his career. The Cardinals are the only National League team he has an OPS over 1,000 against.
Really?
He has crushed the Cardinals. 319, 366, 638 slug percentage, 1,000 OPS against the Cardinals in his career so far.
Somebody on the YouTube chat, Max, says PCA's hitting like 230. Should probably focus on that. He's starting to warm up a little bit.
See,
and
rivalry.
he is one of those guys that I do think it is hard to figure out exactly what he is as a player, because he is, probably the best defender in Major League Baseball. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah. It's
Given
hard
position, given his speed and ability to get to so many different balls in the outfield, and yet you can see a highlight package of his worst plays on the season, and it will appear as if he is the worst player in Major League Baseball defensively. Like, he's unplayable out there at times. So it's hard to figure out, okay, well, what outweighs the other? Is it all the balls that he's able to get to, or is it these boneheaded mistakes that he's making in the outfield? The answer is definitely the great plays that he's able to make, but it is weird how many misplays he has in the field. And then you add in the fact that he's a great base runner and is able to add so much value there, and the power, which plays. He's a heck of a baseball player, man. And I had my skepticism about him, especially with the strikeouts, the chase rate, but it's Javi Baez with a little bit more of a punchable face in center field. That's basically what we're witnessing right now.
Should we speak to the fan that tried to throw that ball back?
Oh, dude.
And couldn't even hit the...
Do you think he threw it with his wrong hand?
No, maybe.
He threw lefty, I think. And so
I don't know, dude.
My only real belief here is he was surprised. My theory, I've been thinking about this a lot. My tinfoil is he was surprised that people said to throw it back. He had a beer in his right hand, and so he threw it with his left.
Look, man, then hand it to the guy next to you and let them throw it. You can't do that when you're chirping a guy, calling him overrated.
We know the cameras are looking for you because it's Cubs cards, so the cameras are expecting you to throw it back. You can't hand the ball off.
Yeah, but you also, worse, can't do what you did on camera.
No, we got to find a way to switch the beer and the ball so we can throw it with our dominant hand.
All I know is you can't be chanting overrated, and then when the guy hits a home run, you can't hit the field where you're like, 4 bleachers away from it?
It wasn't great.
He looked like my wife throwing a ball. Just,
hey, relax. I bet your wife would have made it on the field.
Oh, no. She actually probably would have hit the person behind her.
Jeremy Hodge says, do the Cardinals have a villain on their team?
Not yet.
I don't think so.
Wilson Contreras was the closest thing to having that.
I agree.
Yeah, because I don't think there's anybody that's got flair to that's over dramatic like PCA can have.
Is Joshua Baez the guy that you hope could get there?
I don't know. I don't know if he's got the flair. I don't know.
I don't know. I heard a Rainiel Rodriguez interview the other day.
You think it's going to be him?
He might, man.
I thought Mason Wynn was going to have it.
You got to produce.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you can't run your mouth.
I think Vic could have been that guy if he could produce. He's not producing.
Honestly, and Jordan Walker shouldn't because everything's going well for him. But Jordan Walker should be that guy for how well he's. Or JJ Weatherholt.
They're both too nice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and you can't now because who your personality is. You got to keep with what you're doing.
Walker's more like Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo, where it's like, I think a lot of Cardinals fans hated him because he was a Cub and he was good, but Rizzo's a likable guy. There's not a whole lot more really that you can point to and be like, but he does X, Y, and Z. PCA, it's super easy to dislike that guy.
And you can't force it either. It's got to be authentic because when you force it, people know, and then you're just a D-bag. Like, nobody cares. You gotta be authentic to where, like, that's who that guy is off the field.
You know what? I think the biggest villain on the Cardinals is Ollie Marmol.
Yeah.
That's probably
in all
a
honesty,
great point.
I think he, for a lot of Cubs fans, would probably be the biggest villain right now. And probably for the entire division.
Yeah. Man, if Wynn could produce, Wynn's got all the makings to do it. Because Wynn
so
should
too.
flaunt his stuff. Like the fact that he could get anybody out at that shortstop position, which I know I'm saying that, and he's had some errors this season. But like
Yesterday, though, was a really good game.
yeah, he just
Yesterday, where he had that backhand throw.
you can't
was
do it if
ridiculous.
you're not producing, and that's the hard part. Because what somebody said about PCA with his 230 batting average, that's what people's retorts are to
Exactly.
Mason Wynn.
I now that you say Ollie, I would 100% agree. I definitely
So
think
Ollie
it's
should milk it and
Ollie
just start
Marmol.
pointing to his rib cage all the time.
He definitely is the villain.
guys talk
across
about that?
the National League. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the side of like I don't think Ollie would be doing that, and then the news came out that it's oh no, yeah, he did it.
Also, I don't care about any of it.
Oh, see, I wanted a little flair between them and Milwaukee.
Okay.
If May hadn't had a no hitter going, I wanted some ball in the ribs because I think you needed.
I care
think
about
they
the
needed
crotch
some
chop.
juice in that. And I think that crotch was a.
I think the crotch
was a little
chop was
much.
one step away from the middle finger.
Yeah.
I
And I
liked
think it's.
that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like I like
You
the
are a
fireworks,
PCA
but
fan after all.
you know what? Maybe if he didn't do it 3 times, maybe 1 time would have been enough.
I thought it was
just
great.
not at me, okay?
Yeah.
Now,
I
to
mean,
be
you
clear,
know what you know what like he's saying. When
Yeah,
you do.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think you do.
maybe I don't. I feel like now that you said
I don't
that,
think you do.
I enjoyed the dance.
It's not a dance, buddy.
No?
It's not a dance.
Sure looked like it to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dance, but it's got some underlying meanings to it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge here. I'm not sure exactly.
You weren't a wrestling fan back in the 90s, were
Was
you?
that the Triple H?
That was the D-Generation X.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nope.
It was banned in my grade school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I know this because
Well, he
I
got a
wore
suspension
I
for
wore a
it.
DX shirt to school that said, you
One
know.
game suspension right there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get the suspension, but I had to take the shirt off and wear one of the shirts in the Lost and Found, which that's just as bad as a suspension. Am I right, T-Bone? High five.
You shouldn't do that.
No, you shouldn't, buddy.
But also, I'm kind of glad he did that. I liked it.
I don't think his team was.
I don't think so either. I think his manager was really mad.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't
Really
want any of these
mad.
guys to get a ball thrown at him.
Yeah, which is fair.
but
Somebody
I love the
said,
fact that BK thought that was a
I know.
dance.
Yeah. I
just
wanted,
what
some
the kids
I
did.
wanted some drama between them and the Brewers, right? Because I said it would be perfect for a rivalry because we talked about this. They basically have become you and knocked you down. You were big brother, now you're little brother.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to see some dramatics between them. And there are a couple guys on Milwaukee, like Uribe, who have the I don't like that guy feel. Ali Marmol had it from the Cardinals' perspective as he was pointing at his ribs. Like, it would have been perfect for a rivalry, and instead Dustin May threw like 7
I don't think he
innings.
was actually pointing at his ribs, though. I think he had
I don't know the
he had a
video.
shot.
Yeah, I don't.
And then this. Think about it because you're getting it in the ribs.
Yeah, I don't think he had a side crown.
I don't know, man.
I saw the
think
video from a fan. It didn't look that
sometimes
way.
think
you're
he had
like,
an itch?
oh, man.
You typically lean over when you're
Let me
doing
tell you,
that.
the one area that itches the most on my body is my rib cage.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. T-Bone,
Well, I say
BK thought it was a
fastball
dance.
right here.
Thought Ollie had an itch. Sounds like somebody's
All
wearing
of
the
this
Cardinals
was
red.
just a misunderstanding. Coming up in
Absolutely.
10 minutes, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. But next, boy, Jordan Kyrou's name is everywhere on the trade boards, and there have been a lot of them posted over the last 72 hours. Talk about it next here on 101 ESPN. Hey, it's BK for my friends over at Paymore. You should check them out today. They buy, sell, and trade electronics. This is an unbelievable way for you to get rid of some of those unnecessary, unwanted electronics that are just taking up space in your home. I know we've all been there. You buy a new TV, you're not exactly sure what to do with the old one. Well, now I've got an option for you, and it might put cash into your pocket. You can go over to Paymore. They have a new location out in Maplewood. That's the one that I typically go to out there. And when you go in, you will be able to trade in your old electronics. So maybe that for you is an old TV, an old laptop, tablet, phone. You could take it in, see what you can get for it. And even if they can't pay you cash on the spot, they'll go ahead and recycle your old electronics as well. They'll be able to wipe out all the data so that way you don't have to worry about it. So it's good for the environment, potentially good for you if you can get some cash into your pocket as well. It's all available for you over at Paymore. Check them out today at Paymore. They will pay for your old electronics.
Tanner Henderickson here. The SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals took down the Cubs last night 5-1 as they take 2 of 3 from the Cubbies, and they start the month of June with a 3-game set at home tonight with the Texas Rangers. 6:45 will be first pitch. Jacob deGrom will be on the mound for Texas. Michael McGreevy will be on the bump for St. Louis. The sports update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So there were like 3 different trade boards that were posted over the weekend. One from Chris Johnston over at The Athletic. I know another one was posted by Kyprios up at Sportsnet as well.
His are always wild.
And I thought it was a little more tame this time.
Was
Did
it?
you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was posted this morning, and it was all the names that you would have otherwise expected. It was basically a copy and paste of Chris Johnston.
I assumed Kyprios had like Matthews 1, McDavid 2, and Matthew and Brady Kachuk as 3-4.
It was one of those where, you know, Pierre LeBrun does this, and this is not to call anybody out, but it's, I mean, we talked about this last week, T-Bone, before I left.
Off air, to be clear.
Yeah.
Now it's on air.
Pierre LeBrun put out a piece of, hey, here's what's coming up for McDavid and Matthews this offseason, blah, blah, blah. And it basically got to the end, and it was like, yeah, we'll see. Okay, cool. Yeah,
I wasted my time on 1,000 words to see. Let's see.
That's like for our boy David Pagnotta, who we love here on BK and Ferrario. But on Friday, I joked with T-Bone. There was a report from him that said, I'm hearing active conversations that teams are going to be interested in talking to this player.
Can confirm.
Hell yeah, David.
So anyways, all these trade boards are out, and Jordan Kyrou's name is on all of them. Mm-hmm. And it's not just listed, it's at or near the top of every list. Chris Johnston, who I think is probably the most trusted insider in the game right now, he's writing for The Athletic. His top 3 on his trade board going into the offseason are Vincent Trocheck, number 1. The San Jose Sharks' number 2 selection is the second most likely / interesting trade opportunity this offseason. And number 3 is Jordan Kyrou. Mm-hmm. He writes the following. Kyrou is a highly skilled winger who possesses an enviable toolkit, blinding speed, high-end vision, and creativity to spare. However, he was far from his best this past season. Kyrou's offensive production cratered during a trying season that included a healthy scratch in November. A strong desire for change in St. Louis, plus Kyrou's dip in performance, has renewed the on-again, off-again trade talk that has surrounded his name for at least the past 18 months. Kyrou is signed through 2031 and does own a no-trade clause. 28 years old, 46 points in 72 games a year ago. Alex, as I looked at this trade board, my personal takeaway was, man, the Blues have like most of the best players on this list. Mm-hmm. Parayko, Kyrou, Bennington was listed on this as well. Robert Thomas was posted on here. I don't think he's going to get dealt, but on the list nonetheless. Kyrou is one thing. These other guys, I'm not interested in moving these guys for pennies on the dollar. And I'm curious, as you start to see all of the rumblings on Kyrou again, where are you at as we're now about a month away from real conversations probably kicking off?
Yeah, I think the Kyrou stuff, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think this thing is just going to continue to kind of spread over the next month. Like Bruce Garrett, who we've talked about in the past, who covers the Ottawa Senators, he's back talking about it again, saying, I've heard that his name is coming up and it's going to cost a high-profile name, a top draft pick or top prospect, and a number 1 pick. Like, that's what teams are looking at for Jordan Kyrou. And we played the audio on Friday from Buffalo Radio, where 2 radio hosts were talking about how, like, look, Buffalo may not bring back Alex Tuck. And if they don't, Jordan Kyrou might be the better replacement because it's going to cost you, but you can trade for him. And they're bringing up an NHL centerman and Ryan McLeod, who played in the playoffs for Buffalo. They're bringing up one of their top prospects and a first-round pick. So I think there's real flames here around the Jordan Kyrou stuff because all of these teams see the landscape. The free agent class is not that good if you want somebody who can score goals. And the trade market, there's just not a lot of guys that fit the profile of what teams are going to want. So I think that's it for the Blues. I think Bennington's name is going to be up there. I don't see the Blues having the appetite for that. And the Parayko stuff we talked last week, man, for how much they want to play Adam Jiricek, you can't move on from Colton Parayko unless it's an incredible offer and then you replace it with the free agent. So I think the Kyrou stuff is real, and I think Kyrou is expecting it as well.
Yeah, I think the only one that they're actively trying to move is Kyrou. Now, are they going to get the price that's being reported out there? I'm a little skeptical on that. I think that's what they're asking for. I think teams are kind of holding out. And then by the time we get to the draft, which will be the first deadline of the offseason, maybe you don't get all 3 of those, but you check off 2 of those 3 boxes.
I think that's the goal.
I think that's where this is going for Kyrou. And I think it's the landscape, like you said. Everybody could look at free agency and go, man, there is nobody worth paying on this market outside of Tuck. And even Tuck's going to cost a hell of a lot more than
they were talking
price
to Buffalo
for Jordan Kyrou. I think they'll listen on Bennington and Parayko, but for Bennington, one, I don't think you're going to get an offer to where it's worth moving on from him. It's more valuable to keep him than it is to move on. And I think they'll listen on Parayko, but that's one where it is, we're not moving off this price tag, period. And if no one's willing to meet that, then you just bring him back while you're also trying to mature a young defensive core.
I wouldn't sell low on him. That's my thing. Like you mentioned, T-Bone, they might not get what the asking price has reportedly been for Kyrou. If they're not going to get that, I wouldn't sell him.
Even if it's 2 of the 3? So a high-end player, top prospect, first-round pick. That's what Bruce Garrett said that the Blues are asking for.
Let's say you don't get the first-round pick.
And you get the high-end player and the top prospect?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an absolute...
What does that mean for a high-end player?
So, I mean, Buffalo's comparison to this was Ryan McLeod. Ryan McLeod last year,
I'd probably do that.
26-year-old centerman who scored 50 points.
Yeah, I'd do that.
Really good defensively. So, and I think that's the best case scenario.
My concern is they end up having to settle for a mid-tier prospect in a first-round pick.
Then, yeah, you don't
And
sell.
that, to me, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll just wait. I'll get the player that's worth $8 million for the upcoming season, and hopefully he's able to have a bounce back year.
In that, I agree with. If it drops and I'm only getting 2 of the 3, then we're not doing that. But if it's the high-end prospect, like we're talking the best prospect in their system and the number 1 overall pick, or the first round pick, I don't think that's settling. I think that's getting a really good return. Like, let's take the deal that Buffalo is going to trade for Parayko. Buffalo called and said, look, we can't get Parayko. We want Kyrou, Murtka, and a first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'd do that. But that's not only a good prospect. That's an elite tier prospect. And I don't think anybody's offering that right now for Jordan Kyrou. If they do, I mean, I would, of course, accept that offer. But I think the more realistic outcome here is a lower level prospect than what that is, and a really late first round pick like from Buffalo or Montreal or one of these other teams. And in that scenario, okay, so I'm getting a first round pick that I already have 3 of. I can't have all of these different prospects coming through my system simultaneously. Like, eventually I need players. So a super late first round pick and a mid-tier prospect who I already have a ton of that kind of prospect making their way to the NHL level, and I'm about to have 3 more via my first-round selections. I just don't know how much value that really has for me.
Yep.
I would rather shoot for that player than the prospect or the pick right now. The player, to me, is the single most important asset that can come back in return for Jordan Kyrou.
And that's why when like, if you get 2 of 3, I don't think it's settling. If you get the high-end player and it's a first-round pick, I think that's a hell of a return. Like, if it's Ryan McLeod and a first-round pick from Buffalo, because now that's another first-round pick in this year's draft. I get
the center that they're lacking right now.
Correct. And, I mean, 4 first-round picks, which are all in the top 29, you could package those and try and move up aggressively with another piece in your system if you wanted.
But to me, the prize in that is the player.
For sure.
It's Ryan McLeod, where I get a 27-year-old centerman who can come in and immediately provide the kind of impact that I've been looking for. He would slot in as my number 2 center next year.
Correct.
Over Dalibor Dvorsky. He's already produced at a higher level than Dvorsky. He has shown an ability to be able to get the most out of his wingers. He played at a high level even in the postseason, where you could watch him and you're like, all right, I see how this works for a quality team once you get to the playoffs. So that has more value for me than even one of those prospects that we're talking about below the Murtka level.
Yeah. That's the Murtka line. We're going to call it the Murtka line, and that's what we're at from now. That's why the
Tij Ginla, Murtka, those elite, like, top 20 prospects in the NHL, if you're not getting one of those, I would be prioritizing something like a Ryan.
And that's why I think it's the goal is going to be to get 2 of those 3. And they're probably leaning more into what you're saying of, like, get the NHL player and a first-round pick. And if you get 2 of 3, that's a win in their eyes. And it's just a matter of if teams are going to be willing to bite. They didn't last offseason when he wasn't coming off of a bad year. What do they decide to do now when some teams are desperate for more offense for their roster?
Harrison's brother, Master, didn't you say the trade market is weak? Why would the return be bad? BK just talks to talk, no actual thoughts.
Welcome back, man.
Thanks, buddy. I think for the last 6 months, we've been saying that the return might not be what you're looking for Jordan Kyrou. And now suddenly, I think that the conversation is shifting back again to, well, actually, Kyrou has real value out there. $8 million is a pretty good deal for a player of his skill set. And he's got many years of club control remaining. And he's a guy that has produced for the most part up until this season, where this was the outlier year. And I know you guys talked about this on, I think it was Friday, where you mentioned what Buffalo had said. Man, if the roles were reversed, and let's say Kyrou was available from another team, and the Blues could potentially acquire him. He was on this trade board, but he played for Buffalo instead of for the Blues. I would be making the case to you right now that the Blues should go acquire that player. That is exactly the kind of player that I think they should be going out to get, because he's got game-breaking talent, and it's just a matter of, can you unlock what another team failed to? So, yeah, of course, I think there should be value in that. The question is, will there? Will other teams view it that way? And if the answer is no, are you just selling for the sake of changing things, or are you selling because you're getting that price that you're trying to get? I would do the latter. I'm selling Kyrou in the event that somebody matches my asking price. If they don't, I am more than happy to run it back with the roster that you had at the end of last season. Mm-hmm. And that is where I think I go in a fork in the road moment with a lot of Blues fans, because I'm good with that. I think a lot of Blues fans would say, no, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I look at this situation to where if it's a matter of, hey, you're not getting the returns that you want, they're not making the move. That's where it really comes down to it, because they weren't getting the offers that they wanted in this past offseason, so they didn't trade him. When it sounded like they were actively trying to move him, which is why it went to Bolduc for Logan Mailloux, because they needed to move a winger for help on the defensive side. And then at the deadline, they were actively trying to move him, at least from the reports, to the Islanders, to the Bruins, to a lot of teams, and teams didn't want to pay the price for him. They're not selling low. They're going to probably say, screw it, we'll come back with them if we don't get it. I just don't think they're going to have to sell low, because I believe this offseason, in terms of trade candidates and free agent signings, with the exception of Alex Tuck, there's not a lot of scoring wingers out there, and teams are going to want more offense that got bounced in the playoffs, and that's where it feels like the Blues may pounce.
As I looked at all of these different trade boards, which probably included, 50 different players overall, Alex, my takeaway was the name, if you want to call it that stands out the most on these lists are the number 2 and number 4 overall selections.
Yeah.
Did you feel the same way? Did you have a different player that you looked at and you're like, that's the guy?
I like Mason McTavish. I made my case for Shane Wright on Friday, and I know people don't like it, but I think if you want Mason McTavish, Shane Wright is kind of the same thing, just cheaper. But those are ones that I would look to, but I'm not trading draft picks for those players. Like, I'm trading a Kyrou or a Parayko for those players. The draft pick compensation, yeah, the only thing I'm moving 11 and 15 for is the number 2 pick. And you notice I didn't say the number 4 pick. I don't think the number 4 pick is desirable, because it's not going to get moved to you if Stenberg is there, or it gets moved to you and Stenberg's not there. And that doesn't benefit you. Like, I really think what we're talking about here is Ivar Stenberg. And if you want him, you got to get the second overall pick.
I'm interested in some of the defensemen. I think that's an intriguing possibility.
I think I'm okay with a defenseman. Like, I'm interested in them, but I think I'm going to get a good defenseman at 11 or at 11. Like on Corey Pronman's mock draft today, you've got one of the last best remaining defensemen at 11, and then still got a centerman at 15. I think that's how the draft falls. I just don't think I'm going to make an aggressive move all of my picks to draft one defenseman and be done in the first round.
Coming up in 10 minutes, what do we learn about the Cardinals in this stretch against NL Central foes? We'll get into that here in just a little bit. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Questions and answers coming up next. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK, 314-399-9646. That is the Your Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show for any of the questions that you may have. Do want to pass along a little bit of news real quick first, though. The New York Giants are signing Odell Beckham Jr.
Hell yeah.
Out of the league last year. I think it was 9 catches in 9 games the year prior. But he's making his
one
return
catch per
to
game,
the New
man.
York Giants.
It's a PR.
So he'll be cut by the end of
It's a PR move to
training
make the
camp
Giants interesting. And also, it's probably with everything going on off the field with the Giants right now, it's probably a, hey, look over here. Odell Beckham Jr.'s back.
This is what it was fun.
Yeah.
That is well done by you. I think that's exactly what this is. I didn't think about that part.
Don't look at the in-locker room fighting right now with Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter. We're not going to trade Abdul.
What happened?
Well, it's fine now. Didn't you see they all made up and hugged?
Did Jackson Dart do something?
No, I don't think so. I think everything's fine on that front. But look, OBJ caught a ball with
Did you
one
guys talk
hand.
about that?
We don't do politics on this show, man.
It's not politics. Sports.
Oh,
314-399-9646.
Why don't you save it for your politics podcast?
Is the Air Comfort Service text line from the 636. Guys, BK mentioned in the opening segment that PCA has a punchable face. Would he know this as he also has a punchable face? Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You once a punchable face, always a punchable face, right? Like you guys flock together.
When you belong in that kind of a club, you
It's
recognize
exclusive.
all the other members. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really not the face for you though, man. It's like the moment you open your mouth.
Tone allows.
Like the
for your
moment
face
you
to be that
open
way.
it. It's like somebody
Also
texted
the
in when you
glasses
opened
for
the
some
show.
reason.
They were like, oh, Tone's back.
Yep.
Damn, man. Just got here.
I know.
I mean, like, yeah, the glasses help. You think about breaking them.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text
Break
line
those.
for questions and answers. From the 618, guys, they already tried to trade Thomas and Colton and Bennington. What do you think will change that means that Thomas is back next year?
Well, let's correct that. They didn't try to trade Thomas. They just put his name out there and teams called. T-Bone made a great point last week. Teams that wanted Robert Thomas may have missed their chance because Doug was all loosey-goosey, ready to let that one go because he was pissed off. Now there's a little bit more calming sense around things, but I don't think anything changes. I saw Pagnotta report last week that like teams are going to circle back on Robert Thomas, as they should. But they're not going to make that deal unless it blows them out of the water, which I don't expect it to be. Parayko, I think there's now a sense of like, look, if we move Parayko, we got to go replace him with another veteran defenseman. We had Curbs and Mike McKenna tell us last week that like Doug really thought that they lacked the veteran presence on the defensive side. You're not going to trade Parayko and replace it with Adam Jiricek.
I heard Army yesterday talking on KMOX. He was on their morning show, and he mentioned like the exact pairings that they're anticipating going into next year. It's like, listen, we've got Lindstein with Parayko.
Broberg with Mayu.
We've got Broberg with Mayu, and we've got Jiricek with Fowler. That's the expectation going into opening night, so long as Jiricek shows during camp that he's ready to go. I would expect that that's going to be the 6.
Yeah, and they'll probably look to replace a Matt Kessel with a maybe more experienced defenseman who could be that 7th guy to fight with Tyler Tucker. And that'll be it. So really the only two that you would look at and say, okay, well, they're probably going to shop these guys are Bennington and Kyrou. And if you trade Bennington, you're replacing them with a lesser valued goaltender for more money, probably.
Which is fine if you get a good return for Bennington, but what are the odds of
and
that?
then Kyrou's the one that you're realistically doing. And then I wouldn't look past Pius Suter. Now they need the center help, but if you make a move with Kyrou to get a centerman, I think Pius Suter could warrant you something really good in return. So that's why the Thomas and Parayko thing we just don't think is going to happen, because I think they were just looking to see what was out there at the deadline.
From slide tackling Tyler, BK somehow has a punchable voice and a punchable aura. Is he just punchable? Thanks. Yeah, kind of.
Again, man, if you don't open your mouth, I think you'd look like a good guy to be around.
From
If you're just
Vizzini.
drinking beer, I'd be like, hey, that guy looks like he's a fun dude to hang around. And then he's
From
like,
Vizzini.
have you tried this this pint that's a little bit special from overseas?
He definitely would have his pinky up, and I'd go, that's punchable.
Have you tried this urban chestnut brew?
We went to Bierstadt Lager House
See?
while we were in Denver. Boy, is it delightful. Slow pour pills, can't recommend
It's
it
like
enough.
words like that, delightful. Nobody uses that word.
From Vizzini, besides BK, who has the most punchable? Adam's apple.
Oh, nobody.
Hard to say.
I don't know. Does yours stick out? Mine doesn't really stick out that much.
Mine did when I was thin. Now I got a little blubber down here, not as much.
You know what's funny? I don't really look at other people's Adam's apples. It's just BK stick out.
Yeah, it's noticeable.
I don't even look at it until someone says something. So, like, the moment he started reading, I went, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, but still there.
I judge books by their cover, though. That's why I don't read a whole lot of books.
In 15 minutes, we'll get to in or out. But next, what do we learn about the Cardinals in this stretch of games against NL Central foes? We'll tell you next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So what did we learn about the Cardinals in this stretch against NL Central foes? They go 4-7 overall. The offense went pretty stagnant there for a while. In 6 of their 7 losses, they scored 2 or fewer runs. But then over the weekend, they shuffle the position players a bit. Bottom half of the order starts to perform a little bit better. And overall, I think you leave this stretch saying, all right, not too bad, and the pitching was pretty good. Alex, for you, what do you feel like you learned about the Cardinals in this stretch of really important games against the division?
So I feel like I learned that they need more help on the offensive side, and that's from the 5 through 9. And we talked about that in the show open, to where it's like, hey, good on them to make an aggressive, timely move. But like, I kind of break these down by series and series. The Reds one I kind of throw out because you get a doubleheader with a postponed rain out before, which a lot of pressure on a doubleheader, and then the other one gets rained out. The Pirates one is the one that you look and you be like, man, what happened here? But that was the start of the downfall with your offense that was really spiraling. And then I think the Brewers one, we learned that the Brewers are the dominant force in the NL Central. So when I look at this stretch, I really look at the Brewers and the Cubs series. Yes, you lost to the Pirates. You've already swept the Pirates, so I'm not as concerned about that. And I think what I learned is they need more offensive help to the bottom of their lineup. Their pitching is going to keep you competitive. And right now, it's you and the Cubs jockeying for that second place spot because there's no catching the Milwaukee Brewers. So I think as bad as it is that you went under 500 in this stretch and you were hoping to have a better outcome, I still think I'll walk away from this series going, yeah, they could be a playoff team because it's you or the Cubs, and you prevailed against the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, I think the first one for me was that 5 through 9, and we started talking about that towards the final 3 games of the month. Look, you can't continue to rely on just the top 4 guys because it was really, the lineup was Weatherholt, Herrera, Walker, Burley. And when one guy went cold, which Weatherholt did for the month of May, now he's starting to figure it out, it looks like. But when he went cold for most of the month of May, you felt it, right? You just noticed that, okay, this lineup suddenly is lacking juice. And that's not, it's not the fault of J.J. Weatherholt, but it feels that way because 5 through 9 were doing literally nothing for this lineup. So they needed to make some improvements there. They're at least trying some things. They're starting to churn through it. The other thing that I learned, though, and this is maybe the part that surprised me most, their pitching might be good enough. It's not great by any means, but the rotation ended up being very good in the month of May, to where if the rotation doesn't end up finishing 10th in ERA, we're probably talking about this team being below 500 in the month of May. And it's not just that. It's the fact that the bullpen has become trustworthy as well, where you've got 4 or 5 guys that you trust down there: Soriano, Stanek, O'Brien, JoJo Romero. If you want to put Graceffo in there, you can.
Guys.
All of a sudden, the pitching is going to be able to do potentially just enough. Now, would I bank on it being able to repeat this moving forward? Maybe not so much in the rotation. The bullpen I could believe in, but that was where you need the offense to kind of uplift it, and that's where we're talking about 5 through 9 potentially helping lengthen out this lineup.
I learned they're not going to let this die on the vine. And I think that's happened at times over the past few seasons where, Alex, you referenced earlier, you don't think that John Mozeliak or the previous front office would have made the moves that they did, especially on Friday. Maybe on Sunday, you have a need for a bullpen arm, you call up Hunter Dobbins. Maybe something like that happens. Maybe it's Roycroft instead of Dobbins, but they make a move in the bullpen. I could see that. Friday was a little different to me, where you make a couple of moves that bolster the bottom half of your order, and you do so a week before Lars Nootbaar's expected return to the lineup. Mm-hmm. I think the previous iteration of the Cardinals would have just waited for Noot.
Yep.
And they would have just said, hey, there's no reason for us to make the move now because a week from today, well, we've got Lars Nootbaar coming back. He is really the guy that changes the look of this lineup. How much is it really going to change with a rookie catcher? That's going to throw off our pitching, which, as T-Bone said, has been performing pretty well lately. So there's no reason for us to upset the apple cart with Pedro Paez behind the plate. We'll just kind of let this thing continue. We think this is just a rough stretch for the offense. It's going to be fine. We went up against really good pitching in the Central. I don't think any of this is indicative of what the offense is going to be long term. I think that would have been the messaging coming out of the club over the weekend, and they probably would have, because it was a return to home, like Mo would have held the brouhaha in the dugout where he meets up with the media and explains all of this beforehand, right? Instead, they make the moves, and I think it ignited a little bit of a fire, not only for the team, but for the fans, where they're like, all right, you believe in this, so I can then believe in it. And you're not going to do the thing where Eric Fetty starts every game up until late July, where we all know he's going to get his teeth kicked in, but you think maybe we can extract 2% more value at the deadline because we continue to allow him to go out there and get his teeth kicked in. Instead, now you're making the moves that are necessary. And then yesterday, I actually thought this was maybe the more aggressive move, was deciding to DFA a guy that you took in the Rule 5 draft because you didn't think it was going to work. And you call up Hunter Dobbins, and it wasn't one of those where you're like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe we just send down another one of the bullpen. No, you DFA'd somebody. You're probably going to lose him back to the Marlins or to another team via waivers. and you did it to be aggressive on one day. I like it, man. And it shows me that this front office and this manager, I think they believe in this team every bit as much as they're leading on publicly. And now those actions are supporting the words.
Well, and it's not even, maybe they believe in it. Maybe they look at it as, look, we need to capitalize now. They've got a fan base that's backing it. And at the beginning of this season, I don't think anybody expected there to be 40,000 in attendance for games, let alone at the end of May. But now you have a fan base that's kind of rallying around this team. You've got the actual returns for these players. And a series against the Cubs at the end of May shouldn't mean everything. But they managed and they acted with their roster like it meant everything. T-Bone said it in the open that this felt like a playoff series. It absolutely did, because you're neck and neck with this team, to where the Chicago Cubs went out there and made moves that looked like they should be competing for a World Series, right? You sign Alex Bregman, you trade for Edward Cabrera. They've got the payroll to make those moves. The Cardinals made moves that everybody said, well, they're rebuilding. Like, they're going to be bad. But now an ownership and now a front office sees a lack of a certain area in a matter of, what was it, 10 days, 14 days? And they said, we can't let this thing keep happening. And they went out there and they made a 40-man roster move. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but for previous regimes, they don't make those moves. And that's just in the middle of an NL Central stretch where you underwhelmed. If you would have lost 2 of 3 to the Cubs, I think a lot of people would be out on the Cardinals right now. I think a lot of people would be like, that was fun. You lost every series against the NL Central teams. There's really no chance. Let's just keep this thing rolling along in development. But now people are like, okay, well, you did that. Screw Nolan Gorman. Let's move past that. Go out there and move other pieces so that you can put more competitive roster. They embraced what the fans are starting to see, and I think that's very important in this stage of the season.
And I think, to BK's point on providing a little bit of a spark, not just to the fans, but the players inside the locker room. You heard, I think it was Albert say it on the broadcast last night. They kind of brought up the idea of, hey, what's going to happen at the trade deadline? And I think it was Albert that said, look, if you're in it, to me, you can't sell, right?
Yeah,
to me, you have to do some sort of buying just to at least provide a spark into that clubhouse, this belief of, okay, you guys did what we wanted to see from you through the first 4 months of the baseball season. We're not going to sell off and say, well, good effort out there. Now go out and do this while we take pieces away from you. We're going to continue to add some confidence to this group, and we're going to at least add. And I think, to your point on what they did over the weekend, I think that was part of it. Was, okay, this is clearly becoming a little bit stagnant. There's literally nothing to point at that says 5 through 9's been good in our lineup. It's literally the worst in baseball through the first 2 months of the season. Let's go ahead and bring up Velasquez. Let's go ahead and bring up Jimmy Crooks, and we'll just see what it looks like. And we're going to be adding Nootbaar here in a couple of days as well. We'll see what those 3 guys provide for our lineup. And if the answer ends up being negative, you know what? Well, then we'll go right back to the drawing board, and we'll see if we maybe look at a Blaze Jordan or maybe find a spot for a Baez, for example. Like, I like the fact that you're starting to see these moves, and it feels like a bit of a pivot, right? It feels like the pivot towards, okay, we're not going to be ultra aggressive at the trade deadline, but we're at least going to give ourselves a shot because we're a playoff team through the first 2 months of the season.
I think you're keeping internal competition as well. Like, you're keeping everybody on their toes, letting it know it's like, hey, man, like, you can't keep struggling like this because we've got somebody that will take your spot. I mean, Pedro Pajes, we all said, like, this guy's just going to be there. He hasn't been performing. What do? They go get Jimmy Crooks, right? Like Victor Scott, Brian Torres, Jose Fermin. You struggled in the outfield. Lars Nootbaar's coming back. We're not going to sit on our hands and let you just keep struggling. We're going to go put Nelson Velasquez on this roster, so you better find a way to get out of this slump because we need guys to produce.
If you do want to go see the Cardinals tonight, boy, can you get some good tickets. There is, I'm looking right now.
We've got huge news across the NFL, guys. Huge news. According to reports, the Browns are finalizing a trade to trade Myles Garrett to the Rams.
This is fake, right?
Are you messing with me?
No, this is from Tom Pelissaro, also being reported by Adam Schefter and Rap Sheet. Cleveland is expected to receive Jared Verse in a 2027 first-round pick and additional compensation. Let's go!
Oh, my
Are you serious?
God.
Whose house?
God, the Browns are awful.
I wondered about this today. There was a piece in The Athletic talking about how this would kind of work out post-June 1st. And I wondered if the Rams would be willing to make this move for Myles Garrett, and they just did it.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
God.
Yes, sir.
I clicked on the Schefter tweet. It's not a fake Schefter.
Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, somebody just tweeted out the picture of the Giants roster with OBJ in the picture.
Sheesh. What a deal. What a defense.
They got Myles Garrett?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Forget about drafting Ty Simpson with the first round pick. I'm so happy now.
I How are you going to make this work money-wise?
They had about $25 million on the cap. I looked this up this morning. They had about $25 million in cap space. He's going to get about 23 of that $25 million. They got enough money, though, baby. They're going to make this work.
God, the LA Rams are the Vegas Golden Knights of the NFL.
Champions,
They just literally say,
friends.
screw this. Let's just go get the guy that wins.
Hey, God bless them. I mean, they're in an all-in window right now. They traded for Trent
Still can't believe they
McDuffie.
drafted
They're
quarterback
trading
in the first
for Myles Garrett now.
They're the Vegas Golden Knights of the NFL.
And Jared Verse was a guy that they liked, but he was one of those where it was, well, he's always in the quarterback's face,
Yeah, he's
but he
not Myles
never
Garrett.
gets him when he has the football.
Hey, he's not Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good
They just redid their whole
edge rusher.
Think back to when they won the championship with Stafford. Their all-in moves that year were, we're going to go out, year prior first was we're going to get Jalen Ramsey at corner, and then the final piece to add to the defense was Von Miller with Aaron Donald.
Dude, they have like 5 guys signed next year.
It's okay. Hey, when you win a championship, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
Dude,
This is awesome.
that's insane.
Good for them.
Yeah. I mean, people are very upset that T-Bone's excited rooting for the Rams, but
Oh, I nearly took my shirt off when I saw the news. Figured
But
Charlie
If I
wouldn't
told
take it out
you
for the
right now, you
Cardinals.
could have the Rams versus the field for the NFC winner next year.
I'd still take
Which
the field.
side of that
I'd
would you
take the
take?
field.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd take the field.
I would take the Rams. I mean, they've really bolstered the one thing that hurt them last year, which was their defense. Secondary's much better. Now they've got a guy that's legitimately going to get to the quarterback. I would take the Rams.
I don't know if Stafford can stay healthy all season, and I don't know if Puka can stay out of the news all season.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask is,
Well-
where's Puka at?
Yeah.
He's
Where's his
fine.
head at?
He said he's doing better.
Yeah, sure.
He was able to get help.
He said he was doing better the previous time, too, and
hey,
it
look,
wasn't.
at least my guy's not in jail, okay?
I have
fair.
no
He's-
retort.
He's rehabbing the
Yeah.
knee, too, so
Yeah.
one of those will be great.
Andy Reid said, this is a real quote. Andy
guys
Reid
saw this.
said last week at OTAs, yeah, Rasheed knows what he needs to do. He's got to make sure there's no infection there.
Infection? I don't think you're going to have the proper doctors at prison.
Didn't I also hear him say this is a
Jail.
good life
Not
lesson?
prison.
Jail. Huh?
Didn't I also hear him say this is a good life lesson? I'm like, did we really need this?
Yeah, well, it wasn't the initial, driving 120 miles an hour
Again,
causing
man.
a pile up on the freeway in Dallas. It wasn't that. It wasn't the allegations allegedly getting in some kind of an altercation with a photographer at a local club. That didn't do it. It wasn't all of the other allegations that have been posted online within the last few months. No, none of that did it for Rasheed Rice. It was when he failed the marijuana drug test for his probation, which immediately resulted in him, do not pass go, do not collect $200, go directly to jail. That's when he's going to learn his
Think
lesson.
about it, though. Like, you have 0 distractions in jail if you want to rehab your knee. Also, just because we're on this topic, God, it sucks to be Jared Verse. Because
Oh, dude,
you were
yeah.
just traded for a clear-cut Hall of Famer.
Do you feel good about that, though?
No.
Is that like that's probably going to be...
Ask Eric Brewer if he felt good about getting traded for Chris Pronger to St. Louis. He didn't, by the
How do
way.
you
He
think
was
Jared
booed.
Goff's felt?
Huh?
I think Jared Goff's felt.
Well, Goff landed on his feet.
Yeah, fair.
I don't think Jared
Kinda.
Verse is going to
I don't
go
know
to
if
anywhere to
Goff
have
is never
success.
going to win a title, I don't
I mean,
think.
part of it, though, is like, man, I'm so valued by this organization. They traded Myles Garrett to get me.
Yeah, that doesn't matter, though, once you suit up for the Browns and you play in one game.
That's fair, but also, hey, man, this team really loves me. They really wanted me.
Joe Vitale was traded for Pavel Datsuk.
How did he
That's-
feel?
Well, Datsuk was retired and in Russia.
I think he was
so-
traded for his contract.
He was.
Oh,
He was.
wow.
He
Now
was.
that one really
was.
stinks.
But-
The Rams right now, plus 320 to win the NFC.
Hammer it.
Yeah, I'd still take the field just because of the odds, but damn, they're going to be a
By the
fun
way,
team.
The NFC West. Holy crap.
Oh, I know. Well, sorry, Cardinals.
Well,
Who do you think is the favorite right now to win the AFC?
I'd probably say.
By the way, T-Bone, we're doubling.
now I
this is
regret
your
breaking
fault.
the news.
I would probably say the
Hey,
Bills.
Alex, you have classic air care when we tell in this break.
Cool.
I'd say
7-minute
Bills
break.
I'd say Bills or Chiefs.
Yeah, I'd say Bills.
I lean,
Bills are second.
I lean
Patriots.
Chiefs.
Chiefs are fifth.
Patriots.
No
Patriots
way.
are fourth, tied with another team for fourth.
So who? Oh, Ravens.
Ravens are the current favorite to win the AFC.
Okay, well that's a joke.
at 5 to 1
Where
odds.
are the Bengals? Are they tied for
Below the
fourth?
Chiefs, below the Texans.
Wow.
They're 10 to 1 odds right now, tied with the Broncos.
So who's tied with?
It's Ravens at 5 to 1. Oh, Ravens and Bills both at 5 to 1. Chargers and Patriots at 7.5 to 1.
Don't bet on the Chargers.
Chiefs at 9.5 to 1. Bengals there, and then Texans at about 10-1, Broncos at 10-1, Jaguars at 12-1, and then a huge drop. And then it's the Colts at 22-1. AFC is there. It's wide open, man. There are legitimately about 7 teams that I could see going to the.
Meanwhile,
the
in the
Super Bowl
NFC,
next
you
year.
basically have to be playing in the NFC West if you want a chance for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, more or less. The top
Because-
3 teams and odds in the NFC,
Yeah,
all
I
from the
figured
NFC
it would
West.
be
Rams,
that.
Niners, Seahawks.
Who's behind them? Is it Philly?
Seahawks. Oh, Rams,
sorry, the
Seahawks,
NFC.
49ers, and then Detroit at 9-1, Philly at 9.5-1, and then the Packers at 11-1. Don't take
No,
that, guys.
that's come on, man.
Don't do it.
That team's awful. BK's even going to admit
Vikings
it by now.
at 22-1.
No way.
No, absolutely not.
Interesting number there. I would just
Yeah,
say
interesting.
Put
Don't
a pin
waste
in
your
that
money.
one. Put a pin in it.
Don't waste your money. BK told you earlier to put a pin in the Packers too.
No, don't.
I take the Bears over the Vikings.
Are you going to flip between NFC North teams you really love? You going from Green Bay to Minnesota this year?
I think the Vikings are the most undervalued team in the NFL going into the season.
Who's their quarterback?
Kyler Murray?
we don't know.
Yeah, okay.
It's Kyler Murray.
Yeah, cool.
Let's
okay.
be real.
Yeah. How much has Kyler done?
When he's been healthy, there
Straight
have
at
been
Cobb.
times in the past where he has been an MVP candidate.
Yeah, but his
I think I
contract
just
is
saw-
his contract is null and void when he was shipped to Minnesota on COD. So now he can do whatever he wants.
And I think they're releasing a new game this year, so
Yeah. If you're going to put all of your money in Kyler, this feels a lot like Jordan Love in the Packers offense.
Kyler Murray, Aaron Jones, rather.
Aaron Murray.
Sorry.
he was a quarterback too, wasn't he?
Team
He's
doesn't
still
remember
around?
Aaron Murray,
No,
does he?
Georgia quarterback,
Okay.
right?
Jordan
Kind of-
Mason,
he's
and then
probably
at wide
beginning.
receiver, you've got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Jawan Jennings. That's a really good core.
Aaron Jones can never stay healthy
Didn't
for an
they
entire
sell off
season.
part of the defense though, or am I misremembering?
Did you not hear what I said about the offense?
I'm
Coming
trying
up
to
next.
double here.
Which player
Classic
would
hair care.
If I told you
Get
you
ready.
can guarantee one Cardinals hitter gets hot for the month of June, who would you want that to be? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Classic Air Care, the company that has been making people comfortable since 1926. When it comes to your HVAC system, it is so important to get the maintenance done on it now before it really starts to do that extra work for how hot and humid it's going to get outside. We all have the AC on by now, and you probably hear the weird noises if you got an older unit, or maybe you haven't changed your furnace filter in 6 months, which can cause some problems. All of this can be corrected by calling Classic Classic Air Care. You sign up for a maintenance agreement. I love doing this. I've been doing so since 2016. Twice a year, they come out in the fall and the spring, check the unit, clean it, fine-tune it, answer any questions that you may have to make sure that it's good to go for the upcoming hot season or cold season. And if issues pop up, you get priority scheduling thanks to that maintenance agreement out at Classic Air Care. They've got 100 vans, orange vans with the penguins on the side, out on the roads, which means they're going to get back to you within 24 hours. 5-star customer service you're going to get. Make sure you call them today. Schedule that maintenance check before the summer really kicks in. And also in the month of May, an $89 AC tune-up. Just tell them Alex Ferrario sent you, Classic Air Care, and ClassicAirCare.com.
Tanner Henderickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals took down the Cubs last night 5-1 as they take 2 of 3 from Chicago. They are back in action tonight as they start the month of June with the Texas Rangers. 3-game set. 6:45 will be first pitch. Jacob deGrom on the mound for Texas. Michael McGreevy will be on the hill for St. Louis. And the big news out of the NFL, the LA Rams are trading for Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns as they send a first-round pick and Jared Verse in return. This Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
What a deal for the Rams. But what a deal for the Browns, too, man. Jared Verse is a good football player.
Boy, I didn't have your BK
Yeah, I was
build
going
up
to
ready.
say, you trying to milk this one right now is perfect timing.
Jared Verse is a good football player. They get a first-round pick from the Rams. Now, it's going to be a late first-round pick, probably 32nd overall. But a first-round pick from the Rams as well. They're not going to do any winning with Myles Garrett there. He's 30 years old now. He's more likely to be on the decline than he is on the ascent. We've already probably seen the best of Myles Garrett's career in Cleveland. And this team's still at least a couple of years away from doing any kind of real winning. It's terrible to say this about an all-time great defensive end, which is what Myles Garrett is, but I think the Browns probably did about as well as you could in this trade. It's horrible that they got to a place where they needed to trade him, but once you get yourself to that point, I mean, I think they did pretty well here, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's set aside the fact that you traded a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. You got a legit young potential star who has had success in the NFL back in return and a first-round pick with other draft pick compensation. Now, it's really hard to set aside what I said at the beginning with the Hall of Fame stuff because that's the only thing Jared Verse is going to be compared to. You were the guy traded for Myles Garrett. But if you're the Browns, one, you did right by Myles Garrett, man. Like, he's done everything you asked him to in your organization. He signed the contract. Give the guy a shot to win a Super Bowl. So they moved him on so he can go elsewhere to try and win because you're not winning in Cleveland. And you get a guy back in return that I don't think you're going to be winning by the time he ages out because I just think Cleveland is a poorly run organization. But you know what? You get a young defenseman, and if you can get this thing back on track quick enough, maybe he can be a part of it, and you got draft pick compensation. So it really just depends on what you wanted in return for a younger player. But if you're the Browns, you probably got the best you can in the young return for a guy that can make an impact on the defensive side.
All right, back to the Cardinals here. T-Bones, Rams, get another all-time great player. It's awesome. Great for you.
And they won't win a Super Bowl.
No way.
If they don't, I mean, it's Super Bowl or bust this year for the Rams.
If you don't, man, maybe
I felt that way before the deal for Myles Garrett.
If you don't, maybe Ty Simpson will lead you to the promised land next year.
Don't get me. I still don't understand that pick. I still hate that selection.
Should have just traded it for Myles Garrett.
I think they needed to wait until June occurred to make it happen.
Seems like June 1st was the deadline for that one. We will certainly be on A.J. Brown watch, by the way, as it is officially June the 1st. So MLB.com put out a piece earlier today. One player that each team hopes will heat up in the month of June. If I told you, Alex, I'm giving you some magical pixie dust, and you could put it on one Cardinals position player to get hot in the month of June, who would it be?
Mason Wynn.
Oh, man, we had the same one.
Did we?
We did.
Sorry, man. You want me to change it real quick?
That's okay, go ahead.
Nelson Velasquez.
Give me your
I just
pitch.
Right now, your lefties are doing the damage on your roster. You're getting Lars Nootbaar back. The only righties that are doing some damage are Ivan Herrera and Jordan Walker. And frankly, beyond that, you just don't have much. Mason Wynn, his bat, I don't know what the ceiling looks like. Frankly, I just don't think it's anything that's going to get people excited. But if I could sprinkle the pixie dust on Mason Wynn to get hot and be closer to a 275, 280 hitter, a guy that can get on base more to utilize his speed to steal some bases, and frankly, it lengthens out your lineup. Because when Lars Nootbaar comes back, and if Velasquez continues, man, if I could have Mason Wynn heat up and be in my 6 or 7 hole, now my lineup is starting to look a lot deeper. So I just think he's the one that I would sign up for because I really would like to see Mason Wynn. He's that guy that can change the momentum of a game. It would be great to have Mason Wynn's energy back at that all-time high.
I understand that one. I thought about Mason Wynn. Now, granted, I'm going to lead with a caveat here. I feel like I'm going to be wasting my pixie dust here. But
Gordon Graceffo.
No, I would go Nolan Gorman. This team is starting to quietly lack a little bit of thump in its lineup. If you take a look at where they rank now all of a sudden in slugging percentage, remember, they were a conversation of, wow, this team's surprising. The power's been surprising. And I still think it has been. They're suddenly 19th in slugging percentage in Major League Baseball, and they're slowly falling back down towards the bottom 10, which is what we all expected this year. Now, a big chunk of that could be that 5 through 9 hasn't been helping them out at all, but that's why I would put it on Gorman. I still would like to believe that the power's in there. You know, I'm skeptical that it is. He hasn't shown it for 3 years now at this point. But if he can get back to being the guy that we've talked about in the past, where this is the best pure left-handed power in the organization, he would lengthen the lineup just like Wynn would, but it would be with some real power, right? If Wynn gets hot, we're talking more like doubles power, this would be real thump from that left side that could help you out in that 5/6 hole while playing third base. It would be Nolan Gorman for me. That hope that maybe he could have one of those months where he carries the offense.
I think both of those are good answers. That was MLB.com's pick for the Cardinals, was Nolan Gorman. For all of the reasons that you just mentioned. He is your starting third baseman for all of the frustrations that we have with Gorman, I think all of which are legit. I don't know that you have a viable alternative right now to start regularly at third base as opposed to Nolan Gorman. I think they would like to have one, but they don't. So right now, I think he is your best chance to get some real value out of that position. And he has the thump that can really change the look of the middle of this lineup right now. So I get that completely. I went with Mason Wynn as well, Alex, and you mentioned a lot of the reasons. I just think it changes the bottom half of your order if that guy gets going. And as a right-handed bat in particular, that is something you don't have a whole lot of in the second half of the lineup right now, especially regulars. Like most of the right-handed bats, Fermins, JC, Velasquez, these guys, they're replacements. They're platoon bats. Mason Wynn's in there every day. So he is the one guy that you expect to be out there regardless of handedness of the opposing pitcher. He would be the one that I would go with. But if I'm going to give a different one.
I would love to know where you're going here.
You say Victor Scott.
I've got a guess, but I don't know where.
Don't say Victor Scott.
Oh, that's not what I was guessing.
Victor Scott
I was guessing
second.
Newpar.
No. Newpar's a good one, though.
Let me give you my pitch on Vic.
He plays great defense.
Well, if it's a pitch, he's not going to hit it.
I know.
Oh, he might bunt it.
He does play excellent defense, and there's value in that. I also don't think, much like with the Gorman selection, I don't think there's a real alternative right now in their eyes in center field. I don't think they have anybody else that they trust out there to play every day. Now, whether you agree with that or not, it's not particularly important because that's their belief, and they're the ones that make the decisions on who's playing every day. Newt's certainly not going to be that because they want to keep him healthy, so he's going to be starting in left. So if he's in left,
Velasquez in center,
and Vic most likely is your starter in center, especially against right-handed pitchers, you're going to need him to do something offensively eventually. And if he does become a player that goes through a 1-month hot stretch, man, imagine what that looks like if he's getting on base 35% of the time at the bottom of your order, and then that turns over to give you JJ, Ivan Herrera, Burleson, Walker, etc. It changes a lot in terms of the production, and now maybe he's able to get going with this base stealing because that still hasn't happened, guys. He's stuck at 7 stolen bases on the season. Didn't he have 2 on opening day? I'm misremembering that.
No, he had 2.
So in his last 54 games, he has 5?
He was on first on Saturday with nobody in front of him, and I didn't even get the sense he was going.
That's just, like, it's got to be better than that.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get on at a higher clip, maybe that's something that could start to happen. But he would be the one that, my third option would be Victor Scott II.
Honestly, I'd rather sprinkle that pixie dust on Nathan Church when he comes back from injury.
I just don't know when that's happening.
I know, but
Because we might only get 2 weeks of that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like I hate being out on Victor Scott because you just keep hoping, and he's young, just like we've been saying about Jordan Walker. But, man, it just doesn't feel like it's going to click for him right now. And it's one of those positions that you said all these other guys are replacement pieces. Right now, it feels like Victor Scott might be that. And I don't know who the replacement is, though, other than when Josh Baez is an option. But even then, he's not a center fielder from what Kyle Reese told us. So, yeah, I get it, and you're right. Like, to have that guy at the bottom of the order would be very beneficial. Man, it just feels like even the pixie dust isn't going to make much of a difference.
Yeah, I think in this magical scenario,
you got
I'm
too
able
much
to
magic on your mind, man.
Put the pixie dust out there, and he's magically fixed, and he gets hot for the month of
So you're going to waste all of it.
June.
It's going to be glowing
You're
out
going
there.
to dump like the whole bag on him.
What do you think a hot month looks like for Victor Scott? We're talking like a 260 average, 340 on base?
I don't even know if the average is as high. It's more of the on base that's high.
I think it'd be like 230, 240 with the 340 on base because he's drawing walks.
Walking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Walks,
I think that's
and
and then it'd be him taking off on the base.
Out beating some throws, too.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what you're looking for. I'd love to see it, but I just don't get the sense that it's coming.
Can we go back to your Nolan Gorman one? Of you being like, there's not an internal replacement, or
Sure.
there's not like, why are we not doing the Blaze Jordan conversation?
Let's hear from Chaim Bloom when discussing
know you
Nolan
had that teed
Gorman
up.
yesterday on KMOX.
Well, this has been a frustrating stretch. I mean, certainly for him, also for us. And interspersed within that, there's obviously been not just cool singular moments, but also cool stretches where he does show you, why he's gotten so many opportunities and some of the things he's capable of doing. Obviously, he's made some strides defensively. Again, had a hiccup last night, but overall in the season he has. And he's had some good stretches where he's gotten into the baseball, driven the ball, probably been a little snake bit with some of those results when he has hit the ball hard. But there's no question he's in the middle of a tough stretch right now. You know, whether being out in front of the changeup, being a little behind on the fastball, the proverbial in between. So, you know, we need to help him get out of that. You obviously want, like I've said this a few times, we've talked about it. You want there to be natural competition, right? You want guys to push each other for opportunity because we are only allowed to put 9 of them out there at once. And so you want that competition to come from within. What we don't want to have happening is that we ever throw up our hands and say, you know, we got to give up on this guy. That's not the approach we're going to take in this organization. If guys get beat out by other players just deserving more playing time, then so be it. That's part of our job as a front office, as an organization, whether internally, externally, create that competition, keep trying to flood that pipeline with more options so that they can push each other. But our job is to make sure we're getting the best out of everyone here and let the competition take place between the players.
Totally makes sense of what he's saying. You want to keep those assets and keep that internal competition, but everything he just said is the opposite of what they just did to Pedro Páez.
I think it's actually exactly what he's saying.
Okay.
Because they had somebody internally in Jimmy Crooks that forced their hand.
Okay.
He knocked the door down, and the competition internally was such that, hey, Pedro Páez, you just had an awful month of May offensively, and even though we like what you do defensively, it's time for us to turn the page and go to Jimmy Crooks. So I think that's exactly the kind of thing that he's talking about there.
So then back it up and do it with Nolan Gorman. Because Blaze Jordan is doing the exact same thing in the minors that Jimmy Crooks was doing in the minors. He had a 980 OPS. Jimmy Crooks did. Blaze Jordan a 935 OPS. He's hitting power. He's playing third base. He's doing everything that Jimmy Crooks did to where you said, we've got to get this guy up here and put Pedro Páez on the bench.
I think defensively, I think it's twofold. One, defensively, I think there's a bit of a bigger ask for Blaze Jordan to be a regular at third base compared to what Nolan Gorman is giving you. And two, I think it's about the incumbent. I think they have a higher belief in Nolan Gorman than what they did in Pedro Páez. Pedro Páez was never supposed to be this. When he was called up, it was out of necessity. He barely played at AAA. He more or less skipped the AAA level because his first opportunity came in that season where they were throwing Wilson Contreras under the bus repeatedly and then backing up over him and then starting it up again.
Yeah, I remember those days.
He was supposed to be a replacement for a little bit of time while they got through, and then eventually he just stuck because they liked his game planning. They liked what he did defensively behind the plate. So they trusted him, and he stuck around, and good for him, man.
Yeah.
He made a legit major league career out of an opportunity that never was supposed to exist for Pedro Páez. So I don't think they had as much time, money, expectations invested into Páez as what they currently have in Nolan Gorman. Gorman was a former first-round pick that's shown legitimate pop at the major league level. It's been a few years now, but he's a left-handed bat that has that kind of pedigree. They're going to give him every opportunity to succeed. Whereas with Pedro Páez, hey, we've got this other guy that we've invested more than you in. He's performing. He's done everything we asked. I think that's going to be the thing where it's a little different, the calculus that goes
I get
into
that,
it.
but we're 4 years in now, 5 years really, but 4 years where he's regressed every single year in Nolan Gorman. Like the power's not there. The on-base continues to kind of flounder. The defense has been an average for you, but like when Ramon Urias was healthy, he was getting a healthy amount of splits with Nolan Gorman at third base.
Against lefties.
Yeah. I would put a Blaze Jordan in that position. Like you just looked at Pedro Páez and said, we're going to give this guy the opportunity because you had a rough month. Nolan Gorman's had a rough year. And we're 2.5 months in, and Blaze Jordan is doing everything in the minor leagues that you've asked him to. I think you'd give him a shot and look at Nolan Gorman and say, hey, man, you want the internal competition. We're bringing somebody up to play your position. If you want it back, take advantage of the opportunities when we give them to you.
I think it's just the defense is the thing that's holding him back. Otherwise, I think I would agree with you. I just fear he's not going to be playable at third base.
Give him a shot.
Yeah,
he
but
hasn't had any errors at third base, and he started 26 games.
Yeah, but we're also you got to remember, and you're not going to like this, but he's also not on the 40-man. And you got to figure out what the 40-man move would be to make that happen, especially when you got to think of, yes, there's a spot open right now, but Nootbaar's going to be taking up a spot because they're going to have to activate him off of the 60-day.
So then can't you move on from Preto? Or
you could. I don't know if it's really worthwhile. Also, I will add this. I think Gorman's been fine defensively. Now, and I don't know what to make of this, but I'm going to bring this up anyways. When Gorman starts as a third baseman in the lineup, he is 12% above league average. When he DHs, he sucks. He's at 13 is his OPS plus when he's a DH this year. For whatever reason, when he actually is in the field playing at third base, he is producing. But his numbers are being dragged down by the fact that every time he DHs, he forgets how to hit. Now, I don't know what to make of that. I really don't. But I think that is what they will point to right now and say, yeah, but when we do put him at third base and he does play, he technically is producing what, for whatever reason, he's really struggling in these DH days that they have to give him. And I think they would view it as if we don't give him those DH days, we're not sure that he can stay healthy.
And I think right now they're at least trying that out. And I think that's part of the Velasquez call-up, right? Velasquez plus Jimmy Crooks, those guys can get the opportunities at DH. And you can just start right now Nolan Gorman at third base every day. See what it looks like. And if you get to the point where 3 weeks from now, he's still not producing, even though he's only starting at third base now, all right, well, yeah, you eventually will have to make the call on that. I'm not there just yet. I will say this. If you don't go through a hot stretch soon, man, these cold streaks are going to get even more annoying. Because, you kind of live for the hot streaks with a player of Nolan Gorman's skill set because you know you're going to go through the cold stretches. And typically it's like, all right, well, I'll go through this because I know 3 weeks from now he's going to go on a tear and he's going to hit 5 home runs in a 10-game stretch. And I'll live with this to get to that. But so far this season, you haven't had any of that. And really, for the last couple of seasons, we were going through some of the numbers before the show today. He's been an average major league hitter for 3 years now. And at a certain point in time, you might have to acknowledge, okay, this is who he is. He's an average major leaguer. What's the value in that? How do I put value on the player that we have now evaluated? And for me, with Gorman, I don't think there's a ton, to be honest with you. I think that the defense has honestly kind of been overblown. He's fine this year, but I think we're judging him as being better than what he actually has been because we are comparing it to what he used to be. And he was bad defensively at third for most of his opportunities there last year, and this year he's been passable. He's been good at times. But that play on Saturday, that flip to second base that ruined a potential double play ball, I mean, that can't happen.
I viewed that play a little differently, but sure.
You view that differently?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a very tough play that I'm not sure but anybody but Arenado makes. And if we're going to judge him by Arenado, he's not going to live up to that expectation
If you're
defensively.
going to be hitting like this, you better make that play.
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
If you're not hitting, you better
same
play
can be said for
elite
Wynn and
defense.
Scott, and I don't think they've been elite defensively this year either.
Totally agree.
But you don't have an internal replacement for Wason Wayne, and we already talked about Victor Scott.
Also, his defense is significantly better than what Nolan Gorman's has been.
Sure. That play, that's not one that I would put on him. Now, some of those where he, throws it to first and bounces it for whatever reason on a routine grounder.
Those aren't great.
Now, those are the ones that I'm very frustrated by. That one on Saturday, tough play. That one I didn't hold against him. I get what you're saying.
Blaze
Defense needs to be
Jordan
better if you're
could've
not going to hit. That I really doubt.
I don't think Blaze gets to the
Yeah.
ball. Just to be fair.
It's fine. You got to get the workout going at the major league level. He'll be fine.
If you missed it, big news in the NFL, the Browns have traded Myles Garrett to the LA Rams. The Browns GM Andrew Berry is now telling the media, quote, trade talks are underway, but nothing is yet final. In other words, yeah, we got to dot our I's and cross our T's, but this is happening.
Remember, he's got to pass his physical like Max Crosby
100%.
didn't.
Coming up in about 10 minutes, is there any value in keeping Dobbins at the big league level right now? We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Junk Drawer is next here on 101 ESPN. All right, guys, I know you were wondering, were there any BKOs while I was in Denver?
I was not wondering that, but let's hear it because it sounds like there was.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, of course there was.
Oh, what did you do?
So,
Whose
Did you
life
cause
did
an
you ruin?
avalanche in the mountains?
not quite. We went out to Denver for anybody that hasn't been around the show the last few days. Went out to Denver with our little guy. Met my sister out there. We stayed at my grandma's house who lives in the Denver area. So we go up, like one of my childhood memories is that we would go skiing out in the mountains, typically at Winter Park, and then on the way back, we'd come through this little kind of small town in the mountains called Idaho Springs. They've got Bojo's Pizza, which is a specific like mountain-style pizza. It's outstanding. It's one of my favorite in the world.
Mountain style.
Yeah,
pizza.
I know. It's just Bojo's. It's
just
a one
Bojo's.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's just really thick crust and very little cheese and toppings.
Ah,
I've seen these
I
before.
hate thick crust pizza.
Huh?
I hate thick crust pizza.
Well, it's only the actual crust.
it's just
the underneath is normal, but it's just
so
the
it's not
actual
Chicago
crust.
style.
No,
Gotcha.
no. It's not like a
Alright,
deep dish.
It may not be bad.
Regular on the bottom,
It's
but
like
then
breadsticks and thin pizza.
more or less, yeah. But it's made with honey, so it's kind of sweet. It's pretty good. They've got hot honey and regular honey.
Oh, you gotta go
I think it's
hot
great.
honey.
It's fantastic.
I go
So,
regular honey.
Oh, loser.
Anyways, we go out to Idaho Springs, and they have this new thing. It's a cable car that goes up the side of the mountain so you can overlook everything.
Oh, I already think I'm out.
Nope.
So
Especially if I was riding with BK.
Yeah,
it was
hell
really
no.
cool. If you've ever been to Disney World, it's the same system as they use for the Skyliner out there. So it's the exact same thing. You just get in this little thing and go up the side of the mountain.
Skyliner, as much as it's convenient, stresses the hell out of me.
So we go up, and for most people, they go up with their mountain bike. You can go down the mountain on a bike. Looks like a really cool thing if you're into that kind of thing.
Go down a mountain on a bike?
Yeah, more or less like a
Like
ski.
straight down the mountain? Or
No,
is
it's kind of like
a path?
skiing. You've got a path going down
okay.
it, and they've got like jumps and all kinds of stuff. People that are
sounds
into
awful.
mountain biking, I probably sound like a moron right now, but
You go vroom, vroom, and down you go.
so we get up to the top, and they've got like this little restaurant area over to the left, and that's kind of it. Like that's pretty much all that's up there. We get up, we're up there for about 5 minutes. It starts to rain, and then it starts to pour. And when you're in the mountains, when it starts to pour, it really starts coming down.
Because you're closer to the clouds, T-Bone.
Yeah. So
I'm aware.
Oh, okay.
we get up there like an hour and a half before they shut everything down, and you have to go back down the side of the mountain. So we're up there for a little while, and they say, hey, just heads up, we got to shut down the gondola system. We can't operate when it's lightning. Cool, no problem.
Cool. I'm stuck at the top of the mountain.
About 30 minutes later, they come by again. Hey, just heads up, guys. We're going to have to make a call soon. If we can't start back up within the next 15 minutes, that will mean that like the last lightning will have hit in that time before we close. We'll have to figure out another way for us to get down the mountain because we're not allowed to use the gondola system in a lightning storm. Cool, no problem. They come back about 15 minutes later. Hey, guys, just heads up.
Stuck.
We're not going to be able to go down on the gondola. We're going to have to get a car to come up here. I just want you to know it's going to be a minute, but we're going to hang out for a little while longer. Gondola system completely down for the day. Cool, no problem. So they bring up this like little shuttle bus, and we're riding that thing down the side of the mountain.
It sounds terrifying.
Through this trail that is normally reserved for like emergency vehicles.
Was its wheels on? I don't know what they call them, but like what tanks are on, where it kind of has the rotating thing around
Conveyor
them.
belt style.
no.
It was just generic wheels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying.
You should be.
You should have gotten on that gondola and gone down.
It should be legally mandated that wherever you go with crowds of people, you should have to tell every single person.
Sure.
I'm Brandon Kiley, and just so you know, I have a tendency of things breaking around me, so that if I were to get on that system with you, I'd be like, yeah, no, bleep that. I'm going to wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going up there today.
I have a question. Why'd you not get on the gondola then to go down?
What do you mean?
Why'd you not get on the thing while it was still going down?
We couldn't. They shut it down.
No, I get that, but why'd you not do it beforehand when you said they were giving you warning signs?
They couldn't, though. The storm was happening.
Oh, you were saying it was shut. I thought you were saying
It was
they're
shut
just
down
like,
at the
hey,
moment.
just a heads up, it's still running, but we're gonna shut it down.
No.
Okay,
down
Once
with
they
the
see
lightning.
more sense.
lightning
Okay,
in
that
the
makes more
area,
sense.
they have to shut it down
I see what you're
completely.
saying.
Can't go back down.
At first I thought
At
you
that
were
point,
just
we'd
like,
only been up there for about 15 minutes, and I paid enough money. I'm staying up there
okay.
for more than
I
15
get it.
minutes.
At first I thought you were just saying it was still going, and we were just like,
No.
we'll figure it out.
You should be wearing a shirt that says, like, hey, I break things around me with my mind and my presence, so don't get on this
That was
ride
Thursday.
with me.
Friday, we
there's
go
more.
to the Rockies game. I don't know if you guys saw what happened on
saw
Friday
what
with the
happened.
Rockies game.
I did not see what happened.
But the opposite took place, where I was in attendance, and I've told you, Alex, I don't know what's going to happen when I'm in attendance at these games, but it's going to be weird. There's a guarantee that it's going to be a weird baseball game when I'm there. So Friday night, bottom of the ninth inning, it was an awful baseball game between the Giants and the Rockies up until this point. Bottom of the ninth inning, Rockies are up. They reach on an infield single. Then they single again, then an out. And then a home run, which I'm still not convinced was a home run. They had to review it, and they said it was a home run, and I'm pretty sure it did not go beyond the foul pole. I'm pretty convinced. So that one goes out. It's now a 6-6 tie ball game. Next guy up strikes out swinging. Then they get a single, and finally, Tovar comes up. First pitch, wha-bam! Right out to left field, walk-off home run. Rockies win it. Unfortunately, it's a drought in Colorado right now, so no fireworks for us. It's the only thing Luca wanted the entire time we're there. And we're like, hey, buddy, if they hit a home run, you'll get them. They hit two in the bottom of the ninth, including a walk-off. No.
See, if
no
you would have had a
fireworks.
shirt on, Luca would have known there will be no fireworks tonight because Daddy is a jinx.
But wait, there's more. On
Jesus.
Saturday, we come home, right? We get on the, we get to the airport. We take my sister. She's got a flight back to Atlanta about an hour before ours. So we get there pretty early for our flight. As we are leaving the car rental place, we get the text alert that our flight has been delayed for an extra 45 minutes. No problem. All good. Whatever. We'll take our time to get through the system. It didn't get delayed any longer than that. We're able to board our flight about 45 minutes after we were supposed to. No harm, no foul. It's all good. Get on the flight. We're just sitting there for a little while. All right, whatever. That's kind of weird. Then we start taxiing. That means we're getting ready to go, right? Wrong. Hour and a half later, we've been sitting on the tarmac, not moving, just
Get off
sitting
the
there.
damn plane.
Thank God Luca slept for that entire time that we were on the tarmac. Unfortunately, that means he's awake for the entire flight back to St. Louis. So yeah, last few days,
Oh, that's brutal.
got the full BKO experience.
Shout out to Dr. Xander and Buzz Killington on the YouTube chat. BK's kind of like a less deadly version of Final Destination. Buzz Killington said, yeah, an inconvenient destination. That's your life. You are inconvenient destination, and every time you take a trip, it's part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
From Mahomes long body. You should just have a GoPro on at all times during your vacation so the rest of us can enjoy
You should
your
just
misery.
like be able to click in live wherever you're at any time of the day to see how miserable you are.
It's like watching a bald eagle's nest, except we're just watching BK.
It's like the camera on the bird cage. That's amazing.
Harambe?
Oh, God.
Harambe BK. All right.
It's insensitive, man. The anniversary was just right now.
I'm sorry, I saw that. There was
Unbelievable.
actually an investigation into that by Pablo Torre. That's why he was on top of mind. He did an investigation into the videos.
How do
today.
you bring up such bad memories like that?
In 15 minutes. This weekend felt like a moment for the NBA, but next, is there value in keeping Hunter Dobbins at the big league level for the Cardinals? Talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So the Cardinals made the aggressive move yesterday to bring up Hunter Dobbins. He covers the final few innings of that game against the Cubs and allows the bullpen to take a day of rest, which they needed desperately because, boy, did they push them on Friday and Saturday. That's not a criticism. I kind of liked the way they went with it. I was a little questioning it on yesterday's game, actually. I thought they should leave Libby in a little bit longer, but whatever. All's well that ends well, and they won that game. And Dobbins was awesome yesterday in that game. The question now becomes, what do you do today? Technically, you could do nothing. You could sit here and say, hey, Dobbins is unavailable today, but he bought our bullpen rest yesterday. He's earned the right to be here for another day. And because the bullpen's rested, it's not as though we need somebody to come up today to help us out in that area. We're good. We've got it covered with the players that are already here. And then you could ultimately make the decision tomorrow on where you should turn. Do you bring up Chris Roycroft? Do you bring up Gastelum? What do you do? Or do you just keep Dobbins in the bullpen? That's one option. Another option is you just, hey, Dobbins, thanks for your service. Head back out to Memphis. Go take your bullpen day, and then we'll see you when we see you. You're basically in the same role that McGreevy was in a year ago, where whatever we need, that's how you serve. Alex, let's start out here. Is there value in just keeping him around? Saying, you know what, Dobbins? For the time being, I don't know how long this is going to last, but whether it's a day, a week, a month, we want you to be in our bullpen at the big league level because we think there's value in that. Do you value that for him right now?
I value it. I think common sense would say don't value it and let him continue to stretch out. I'd value it in the sense, like, I think your bullpen is starting to get the wear and tear to really kick in. Like, you're going to get into the dog days of the season, and how much you use a lot of these arms, specifically the righties that you trust in terms of Riley O'Brien, Ryan Stanek, and George Soriano. I do think it would benefit to have a right-handed arm that you can trust to give you a little bit of innings if you need it from your bullpen. So I value it. I think he does have better stuff this time around than when we saw him start the earlier in the season. And although it does hinder the development and continuing to stretch him out, if you're telling me I could have that arm in my bullpen for a month to where it's like I could break glass in case of emergency when your bullpen has just been used a lot, I think there's value in having that and learning at the major league level.
Yeah, I would send him back down today. I understand the idea of trying to keep him up here, but I think you need to keep him stretched out as a starter because you've only got 7 guys right now in terms of your depth chart, which is the 5 starters at the major league level, him, and then Bryson Motts. And I don't want to knock that number down right now because injuries can pop up and they can pop up quickly, and I want to be as deep as possible, and they've only got about 7 guys that they trust that can be in the rotation. And by keeping him up here, one, that means you're down probably at least 2 days, I would think, in your bullpen. He's a starter, so he's going to need a little bit more time to probably stay down after throwing that many pitches yesterday. But also it's the fact that I don't want to keep him up here at that point because it's so hard to find innings to keep him stretched out here at the major league level. And I don't want him to lose that stretch out ability to remain as a starter. So I would send him down. My gut tells me they would just call up Roycroft. I thought maybe they would consider Gastelum. He threw 2 innings yesterday, so he wouldn't even help you out. But he's been very good. He's only walked 1 batter over, it looks like, his last 10 appearances down in the minor leagues. So he's probably being close to the cusp being called up. But because he threw 2 innings yesterday, I think it'll just be Roycroft. You call up Roycroft, you send him down, and then you can potentially go to Gastelum maybe later on in a couple of weeks once you kind of plan it out a little bit better with the bullpen.
I'd keep Dobbins up for today and then make a call on this tomorrow, depending on the need. You do have some off days coming up. This plays into if every day this week you played and then you had like a stretch of 10 in 10 days, I'd probably just keep him up. Say, you know what, we'll kind of play this by ear. It's kind of a similar situation to what Libby was in. What was this, 2 years ago? Where it was...
Wasn't it last year? No, last year he got the start.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago where they were doing hey, we're either going to use you out of the bullpen for length or you'll start in a few days.
That was last year at the beginning of the season because didn't they have Steven Matz still? Because they were using Matz and then Matz went to the bullpen. But I thought they did that with Libby early on.
Libby was 2 years ago. I can't recall the
Libby
exact
started
timing
all
on it
last
now.
year. Libby started all last year because remember he ran out of gas towards the end of the year. It was 2 years ago that they did that.
But, I mean, you've got Thursday an off day, then you've got Monday an off day as well, and then your next one's not until June 20th. But the thing that throws a wrench into all of this is the fact that you can't call him up for another 10 days. Unless there's an injury, though, and that would probably be the one time.
15.
Is it 15?
15 for a pitcher.
And that's where it makes it tough. But you do have Bryson Motts, but you just called Bryson Motts up as well. So if you were to need a starter here pretty soon, whether it's a spot starter or whatever, who's getting that start? If you need one in the next, let's call it 10 days.
Bullpen game.
That's probably what it is, right?
Your bullpen's already fried.
Yeah, and they don't have a ton of 40-man flexibility because they've got so many guys that are in the minors that are injured.
I think you leave him up here for a few days. See what it looks like. This might even just be for a week. And just tell him, hey, man, you're getting a major league paycheck. We're not exactly sure what the plan is, but stay on routine.
I was going to say, you could keep him on a routine.
Keep on your routine. We'll see kind of how this is all going to play out. And then what we might do is, hey, every fifth day, you're going to get extended work out of the bullpen. I could see something like that making sense.
You have 2 outs with that, though, because of Palante and Leahy.
Well, so I was just running through counting the days from when they sent down Motts. You could have Motts by the time you get into that stretch next week where you go 3 at New York, 3 at Minnesota, then 3 at home against San Diego, then 2 at Kansas City. He will be available by the time you get into that stretch. So if you are looking at potentially, hey, maybe we do throw in a starter there, go 6-man. We don't need Dobbins right now. Probably not available for at least 2 days. Let's get a fresh arm up here in Roycroft. You can at least plan it out to where Motts can go into that role that you're talking about, to where you don't need to necessarily just say, okay, let's let Dobbins sit up here and just kind of hang around in the bullpen and just see if we can find a way to get him innings. You can send him down to the minor leagues.
How do you feel about Roycroft?
Oh, I think Roycroft's not a major leaguer, but I think right now you're getting a fresh arm that can at least.
But you don't need it tonight.
You might. If you get blown out, you probably want Roycroft to eat some innings rather than go to other arms.
I don't know, man. If I'm in the Cardinal spot today, I don't care. Like, I'm not throwing Roycroft.
If they're going to wait a day, the reason I would wait a day is just to give Gastelum some time.
That's what I would do.
I'm okay
I would say
with that.
for today, hey, Dobbins, you earned this.
But I would
stick around for a day, hang out.
I would not let him hang around
the club.
And say, okay, he's here as we get ready to go into that next stretch of like 12 and 12 days or whatever that is.
And I would say, like, I'm more open to it.
I think you can mimic some type of routine.
I don't think it has to be an either-or situation. I think this could be, and now this might just be hey, he's coming off of an injury. We want him to be on an exact routine, and we want him every fifth day going out there and knowing how this is going to work, right? And to like build up those innings once again. That's probably the smart play here for his development long term. But if they're doing the hybrid game, which I think they might be doing right now, where it's kind of half foot into the rebuild, half foot into the trying to compete right now.
That's always a good one.
I know, but Dobbins is one of those guys that I don't know what his future is for the Cardinals. He might eventually be a reliever for you. That's possible. So, hey, is getting bulk innings right now out of the bullpen the worst thing? Where you have kind of a built-in day once a week where Dobbins is just going to eat 4 innings coming out of the bullpen? Is that so bad?
I think if you're trying to win, which is where this comes to your half foot in, half foot out, no, don't do it. I don't like that idea because you would rather go to high leverage arms, right? You'd rather go to Soriano. Like if you were to try that, this is the part I have where I think the long reliever, I know some people disagree with me on this. I think the long reliever is dead in baseball, and I think it's just too hard to plan. Because in theory, sure, we'll go 5 innings. Could you do it for 10 days, though? I wouldn't even plan on that. Like, I just think it's too hard to kind of work this around. Like, maybe you end up in a spot like yesterday, for example. They clearly wanted to go Libby 5 and then Dobbins 4-ish. Yep. Something like that. Well, that equation changes if it's just a 2-1 ball game. Okay, well, so now tonight we're not going to Dobbins. Well, maybe tomorrow we'll go 5 and 4 with Dobbins. All right, well, now it's a 3-1 game again. Do we really want to go back to Dobbins? Like, you can't plan on him having multiple innings like this in a long relief role. And I don't think you want to cut him down to what I think is the new version of the quote-unquote long reliever, which is these 2-inning bursts we see from guys. Like you see it from Graceffo. They've done this with Fernandez. That is a lot easier to plan, and that is basically we're using you in a chase situation, but it's a lot harder to try and plan that long relief of 4 innings for a guy, in my opinion.
I don't know. I'm really curious to see what they decide to do because they're limited. You mentioned the 40-man thing. I give them a lot of crap over the years of how they have put together their 40-man. This year's different. Richard Fitz can't pitch for you. Tink Hintz is on the development list right now. Cooper Jerpy is hurt. TK Roby is hurt. Matt Swanson is ineffective. And then you've got Chris Roycroft right now who's sitting on the 40-man. That's really the one spot that I can look at and say, all right, well, you can work with this one. Maybe you could say like Brule, but those are guys on the 26. Guys on the 40-man that are not here right now, it's Roycroft and then a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
And it's guys that like literally cannot pitch for you right now. They're unavailable.
Unfortunate / poorly constructed 40-man. Because they've got 5 catchers on the 40-man roster.
Now, the position player side of things, it's only 4, I think.
Well, counting Pozo, it's 5.
That's fair. They don't list Ivan Herrera on this.
Herrera's a DH.
The position player side of things, I think, is a little different. That's fair. But the pitching side is...
Some of those are just unfortunate, right? And you don't want to put them on the 68 because then you got to accrue service time and you got to pay them a major league salary. So it doesn't make sense to do that. You're just kind of stuck. But that's where the position players okay, well, if you would have traded a catcher in the offseason, if you felt comfortable in Herrera, which I get why they didn't do it, but did you really need 5 catchers on the 40-man for the entire offseason? Could you not trade one of those guys for maybe a prospect to a prospect swap or do a starting pitcher that you could bring in here? I think they can still manipulate it, right? Like if they DFA'd Prieto, I don't think anybody's crying. I don't
like 4
think that would happen.
utility guys.
The problem is,
Pozo would be
once you
another
do that and you add somebody to the 40-man, you can't take them off again.
I know, and that's where it gets tough.
And that's where, this offseason, there's no movement on the 40-man from a pitching side of things. And you're not forced right now to add any of these guys that we're talking about to the pitching 40-man. And so, it then continues to get even more clogged as you continue. So that's where I do have a little bit of sympathy for the situation that they're in currently. There's just not a great way to go about this.
I blame Mo.
Always blame Mo. DK doesn't.
This offseason, you've got to do Eshawn Henderson, Quinn Matthews. They've both got to be added to the 40-man this offseason. Luis Gastelum has to be added. Skylar Hales has to be added this offseason. They've just got a lot of decisions.
The name that
Chinwei Lin.
The name we haven't talked about that will be gone would be my guess is Tink.
Probably.
Now, when do you want to rip that Band-Aid off? Do you want to do it now or do you want to wait?
They're apparently working with him down in the Florida complex. And
it's MIA.
That doesn't give you warm and fuzzy feelings.
I think
what could go wrong?
Yeah.
They might need him to be in the bullpen by the end of the season.
Whoa. If that's the case, there's a problem.
I mean,
he's not ready to be a big league bullpen arm. He's not ready to be a AAA bullpen arm.
I think he only has one more option.
Yeah, I think he's not I think he was a fun prospect. And this is why I always talk about you should trade your prospects and not always get super excited about all of them.
Yeah,
because
remember when Tink was untouchable?
He was the best pitcher in the pipeline.
Yeah, until Heimke stepped in.
No doubt.
And got 5 better arms in the pipeline.
Coming up next, this weekend felt like a moment in the NBA. What does it mean long term? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. I don't know if you guys watched the NBA Western Conference Finals over the weekend.
I did not.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
a big NBA guy.
I saw an alien. I've never seen anything like what I witnessed over this weekend, and really this entire series. Victor Wembanyama has arrived. He is here. He is probably the best player in the NBA today. T-Bone, what was the stat that you mentioned earlier today?
He's the first player in NBA history in a playoff series to make 15-plus threes and have 15-plus blocks.
First player ever.
First player ever.
In any NBA playoff series.
Yeah.
First round, NBA Finals, anything.
Yeah.
He did that against Oklahoma City, which coming into this thing was the clear, obvious favorite to get to the NBA Finals. Now, disclaimer, they're not healthy right now. Two of their best guards were not able to play for the majority of this series. That was a factor in this series against the San Antonio Spurs. What also was a factor is that guy doing things unlike I've ever seen before on an NBA court. Wemby was not supposed to be this good this quickly. Everybody expected that he was going to be a good player and that the Spurs would probably have a run with him. Guys, he's 22. This is year 3, and he's already arguably the best player in the league and without question the best defensive player in the league. And you know what else I love, Alex? That guy cares. That guy really gives a crap. After the game, they won Game 7, Western Conference Finals, and now the whole, it thing is you're supposed to act like you don't care. You've been there before. No, man. This guy is crying on the court, hugging all of his teammates, acting as if he just won his 7th NBA Finals. And I love it because that's what this should be, man. The whole goal is to win. The whole goal is to get to the place that Victor Wembanyama is now about to play in. So to me, this was a moment for the NBA. I remember when LeBron got to his first finals, and I was like, this is the start of something. With Steph and the Warriors, you could feel it. Something is happening right now in the league. The league is shifting. The way the game is played is literally shifting right before our very eyes. That guy has shifted things. And the crazy part, he's a big. This guy's 7'4".
I saw him jump for a dunk on an alley-oop during
He
that
didn't
game.
even need to jump.
It was like a little tippy toe.
Yeah,
He was up in the, it's like, that's disgusting.
When was the last time the most dominant player in the league was a big?
Giannis, wasn't it?
But Giannis is like a
Jokic?
wing/4.
Yeah, Jokic.
Jokic won what?
That's
Back-to-back
fair.
MVPs?
Has the
Oh, no,
league
that's-
shifted again? Are we back to the bigs?
I mean, Jokic was the first one I thought of when we're
It's
talking about
different,
this.
though.
Yeah, this isn't a
You're
big.
back to the bigs, but it's the bigs that can stretch the floor,
Yeah,
right?
this isn't a Shaq big.
Yeah, it's not Shaq or Duncan or Robertson. It is, okay, you got to have a big that can really space the floor and also handle the ball, right? Because Jokic, what makes Jokic a freak isn't so much his three-point shooting, though he's good at it, and he doesn't look like an athlete. He is a hell of a passer.
One of the best in the league.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Well, and it feels like, too, because it always feels like you get these guys that are just, temporary, oh, here it comes, and then it doesn't last. Porzingis, I remember everybody was
good
hyped
point, yeah.
about because it was oh, this guy, what was it?
What could have been?
I forget what his nickname was, but he was supposed to be.
Unicorn,
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the next big thing, and he had that 1 year where it was oh, damn, you want Porzingis, and then gone immediately. So for bigs, it comes down to sustainability. Joel Embiid has been that one, but the guy can't stay healthy, and he can't get the job done. Karl Anthony Towns was the other one, too, to where it was oh, he's going to be the next sensation for Minnesota. Now it's just sustainability, and I don't know how you don't believe and trust in Wembanyama's sustainability for how dominant and how weird he
He can
is.
stay healthy, man.
Yes,
I
that'll be
hope
the
he
big
can
thing
stay
for him.
healthy.
Especially a body type like that.
Because he's as close to Kevin Durant as
That's
anybody.
who I think of when you watch him play. I just think of how lengthy and long Kevin Durant was and what he could do.
But it's almost like if Kevin Durant was mixed with Anthony Davis, because he has the rim protection of Anthony Davis, and then kind of the offensive, not as smooth game as Kevin Durant, but some of that of KD and just the gangly long arms. He's just a different body type than what you would typically expect to succeed at the NBA
He
level.
looks like a spider out there. It's just his limbs are just all. You see him reach out to block something and then reach up. It's
He
how
looks
do you
like
even
the
do this?
inflatable guy.
Yeah.
The wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
I'll say this, too. You mentioned that this was maybe a moment for the NBA this weekend. This is the star that they've been looking to replace LeBron for.
Can he be that?
I think he can, and I think the reason it is because you almost have to have a freak of nature or a guy that wins 7 rings. Jordan was the guy that won 7 rings. LeBron was a freak of nature when you saw just the way he played and eventually how big and muscular he became. And then, like, you haven't had that since LeBron. Like, I know people would point at KD. KD was still in LeBron's
Steph
prime.
was kind of that.
Steph kind of had that moment. And I think what he did was almost, it's different, but his style of play was so different.
But it was dominant. Though.
And Wemby's style of play is different because he's a 7-foot big that can shoot the ball, that can handle it, and can protect the rim, like you're saying. He's a different breed. He's
a
different.
Freak. I'm going to ask the kind of uncomfortable question. He's French, though.
I think it can work.
I don't think that matters. Yeah, in the NBA,
I think the reason it doesn't work for SGA is just because, like, what he does, we've seen, right?
Yeah, there's nothing particular. People get so mad at me when I say this, but it's true. There's nothing particularly unique or special about SGA.
Exactly.
He's just really good at a lot of things. He's a really good basketball player. I'm not trying to take away from his greatness. It's the same thing that I've always said about Mike Trout. When you watch Mike Trout, he is a special baseball player. Everybody would want that on their baseball team. It doesn't get the casual, it doesn't get my wife to say, I've got to go watch that because I've never seen anything like it before.
I had it on
Shohei Ohtani is that.
Well, Wembanyama's that because I had it on in the background and my wife goes, look at that guy.
Exactly.
How big he is. Like, that was her initial reaction.
It's a spectacle.
Yes.
That's what you need nowadays is like, you need to be able to post something in a 7-second clip on social media and people to be like, what the bleep was that?
That's what Steph was for the longest time with where he was shooting the three-point ball. That's what Giannis was for a quick step of time, for how he just completely, and for how he looked. Like, looks really determine how the common fan will watch, because when you turned it on with Giannis, it was, look how big this guy is and how muscular he is.
If there's a moment where it won't work out that way is if he ends up winning like Giannis. Because Giannis had the one title, and he hasn't really been back. And he only had really that one run, if I remember correctly.
And that's been the NBA lately. Quietly, the NBA has become a league of parity. Since LeBron left Cleveland and Kevin Durant left the Golden State Warriors, this is what the champions have looked like and what they did the following year. In 2019, it was the Raptors. Then they lost in the second round. 2020 COVID season. That was the...
Didn't count.
Yeah, that one didn't count.
What?
The 2020 COVID season.
You guys are the worst. 2020 COVID season.
Man.
The Lakers win in the bubble, and then the next year they lose in the first round. 2021, there's your Bucks. They won, and then the next year they lose in the second round.
Because that was when I thought their window was opening, where we're having the conversation now about the Spurs and Wembanyama. That's what I was talking about in 2021 with Giannis.
22, the Warriors won it, and it was like, all right, this is it. That was the capper on it, and then they lose in the second round the following year.
That one makes sense.
Then, though, it felt like another window had opened. The Nuggets win their title. It was like, oh, my God, look at all this young talent. Jokic, and Michael Porter Jr., Murray. These guys are awesome, and they're going to be around forever, losing the second round the next year. Then we did it again. The Celtics get to the NBA Finals. They win it. Look at all this young talent. It's Jaylen Brown. It's Jason Tatum. They've surrounded them with this unbelievable core. Losing the second round. Now they've got all the injuries. Now Jaylen Brown's talking.
She's always
all of it.
That's a good thing, though.
And then last year, we do it again. The Thunder win the title. SGA, Chet, J-Dub, all these guys. Look at how young they are. And then now lose in the Western Conference Finals, and they've got a big tax bill coming due this summer. The NBA, quietly, over the last 8 years, has become a league of parity, and we're about to get another new champion. Interested to see what this looks like.
Yeah, I don't think it's good for the NBA because I think NBA needs that super team, that power team, so that people are just focused on beating that team. It's what the Warriors were. It's what the Lakers were. It's what the Celtics were back in the day. I don't think it's good, but for me personally, I freaking love it. I don't like when it's the same teams over and over and over. I want to see fresh blood get the opportunity for the playoffs, because I think that's how you continue to grow the game and you grow the league. You get fresh blood that steps in so that there's more and more teams to hate and more rivalries built from it.
I think the NBA and the NFL are the two leagues that need to have the villain, the super team, if you will. Maybe it's not so much a super team in the NFL as it is just the great quarterback.
I feel like the villains and the super team in the NBA go hand in hand, though.
I think the NBA needs. It's what it's had dating back to really in its entire history, right?
Yep.
Like, I'm just going to go back to when it was Michael Jordan because that's the best that I can recall. I mean, MJ won, 6 titles in a matter of, 6 years, something along those
they
lines?
had the super team with Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman.
And then you transition that. There's a little bit of a layoff, and then it gets to the Spurs eventually become that team, and then eventually end up getting to the spot where it ends up becoming the Golden State Warriors, and you've got LeBron with Miami before that. And then, that's just the league. And I think when you don't have that as the NBA, and again, I'm not an NBA fan, so, I might just be speaking out my you-know-what, but I think for that league in particular, they need the villain, they need the super team.
I think this NBA Finals is going to be really interesting in terms of viewership because it will show us if Victor Wembanyama can be that. Can he be the guy that carries the ratings? Can he be the guy that carries viewership? And if he does, they may now have something with him. And then the Knicks are going to be this huge story. It's going to be massive, the fact that they're involved with this. So I don't think it's great that they've had 8 consecutive different teams that win the NBA Finals. But
how many of those NBA Finals had a similar team in the finals, though? Like, how many similar teams went to the finals and lost?
I think the Knicks is what's different.
Yeah.
The Knicks is what makes this one different because, I think the Thunder had a star, Celtics, Nuggets. I think a lot of these teams had something similar to Wemby, but maybe not quite on the same level as Wemby, right?
Yeah.
You had Giannis, you had Steph, you had LeBron, you had Kawhi, you had Jokic, you had Tatum / Brown, and then last year with the Thunder, we'll see if Wemby is a little different than some of those. Coming up next, in or out here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Henderickson here with the Sports Center update brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. Cardinals took down the Cubbies 5-1 last night as they take 2 of 3 from Chicago. They start a 3-game set with the Texas Rangers tonight. 6:45 will be first pitch. Jacob deGrom on the mound for Texas. Michael McGreevy gets the start for St. Louis. And the big news out of the NFL, the LA Rams have acquired Myles Garrett in a trade that will send their first-round pick next year and Jared Verse to Cleveland. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. You'll be saying, I love my windows.
Three 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for in or out. I got to be honest with you, we're going to go quick here, so I'm not sure if we're going to get to text, but we'll try.
Eat your text.
314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line. In or out, guys, we get a roster move before the start of today's game.
I'll say out. I don't think they do it. I think you wait a day. You reward Hunter Dobbins for a good performance, and then the roster moves tomorrow.
I'm going to say in. They're going to send down Dobbins. They'll call up Roycroft, will be my guess.
I'm going to say in as well. I think that's what they do, even though I would go the opposite. Alex?
In or out, guys, we see one position player by the Blues traded this offseason, and in return, you get another position player.
In. I think that's the direction that they would like to go. I don't know who that player is. Could be Suter, could be Kyrou. But, yeah, I think that you will get at least one of those kinds of trades.
I really like this Ryan McLeod idea. He was the one I brought up from Edmonton before he was traded to Buffalo. I like this idea.
Yeah, I would say in. I think they're going to trade Kyrou and they get a position player back in return. It makes a ton of sense, in my opinion. Guys, in or out, we will see 3 teams from the NL Central make the playoffs.
Boy, I was looking at the National League standings yesterday when I got back.
Mess.
Oh, my God. The wild card standings right now are like...
And then look at the AL.
Yeah, I know.
I'll say out. I think it's one of the Cardinals or the Cubs that get it because I think the Padres, Diamondbacks, and Phillies are going to jockey it out for the other 2.
Alex got to it quicker. But that's what I was going to say.
You said we got to get to people's texts fast, man. We got to make our decisions fast.
You had much more brevity and said
you guys are over here playing tiddlywinks. Let's get to the answer.
Seamless way.
You ever play tiddlywinks, T-Bone?
No, I'll say out. I think it'll be 1, maybe 2 that end up getting in.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. We do have some time for your text from Master of the Custodial Arts. In or out, the Cardinals bring up Newt Bar before the end of the week and send down Thomas Sajaci.
I think Sajaci's the one that goes down. I would say in by the end of the week, but I'd say out on the Sajaci front. I think it would be a Prieto before it would be
He's
a Sajaci.
already down. Remember, he got sent down Friday.
Okay. Well, I still think it would be a Torres or a Fermin. I forgot Prieto was down. Goes to show you how much Prieto impacted.
In.
I'll say out because I'm not sure Sajaci is the one that goes down.
Who do you think goes down?
I'm not sure.
Prieto?
If Velasquez doesn't hit, it'll be Velasquez.
They have to DFA him.
I think they'd be okay with that.
I think Sajaci will be the one that goes down. He just hasn't done enough.
This is because
I don't know what to make of this.
He hit a home run the other day.
I know.
They've claimed he's the backup shortstop. We talked about this. He's in the Brandon Crawford role. I was asked if they have considered giving Weatherholt some reps at shortstop. I think he becomes the backup shortstop in this case.
Especially if
that's the case, I see how
that's in a
goes
pinch.
down.
Like the thing about this that I always get a little weirded out by is like if you have a 3-inning stretch that you have to go ahead and figure this out with, like Fermin can play it for 3 innings if you need to in the course of one game. And then the next day you can call up Sajaci. Like that's it. You could just make it a super easy to so yeah, I think we overstate.
What about that
things.
9-inning game we have to play where Wynn needs a day off?
Then you go with either Fermin or you throw Weatherholt over
Better
there
hope
for
that
a
pixie
day.
dust starts to work on your boy.
From the 618, guys in or out, Blaze Jordan will be Gorman's successor. Out.
This season, I'd say out. Next season, I'd say in.
I'd say out for both. I just don't know that they believe he's a third baseman.
From Mahomes Longbody, in or out, Spurs in 6 and Wimby's wins Finals MVP.
I'll say in. I think the Spurs are got some magic to them after that series win, so I say they win 6 or 7, and Wemby is the MVP if they win.
Yeah, I'll say in. I don't know who's guarding him on the Knicks. I don't think they're going to have an easy answer.
Allegedly.
Hey, Carl Anthony Towns.
I'll say in. They'll win in 6, and he wins MVP.
I agree. 314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line for in or out. Guys, in or out, Myles Garrett to the Rams. Pretty well seals the deal. Rams will be the Super Bowl champs next year.
I'll say out.
I'll say in. I do worry about health for them because they're getting older on the offensive side of the ball, but I'm going to say in. On paper, they're the best team.
from the 618. Guys, Game 6 is going to be in New York with the FIFA World Cup at the same day in New York.
That's the place to be.
Expensive in New York.
I'll be in New York next week.
Which one are you going to go to, man?
Well, that won't be. It'll be Game 3. I'll be in New York. Game 3 of the NBA Finals will be played in New York.
From our prior conversation.
Well, it was $10,000 to get in, so I decided not to buy
You
tickets.
got that money back.
Prior to our
You
conversation
didn't go to Colorado. You could have
on the
been on the
junk
court.
drawer,
Tony's next week in New York, too, by the way.
I'd say
We
make
picked
sure.
the absolute wrong time to go.
Yeah, I'd make sure you don't go to any of those so you don't ruin it for everybody else in New York.
Coming up next, the Rewind here on 101 ESPN. Hey, it's BK. It is time for you to unlock your inner champion. The place to do so is with my friends over at Victory Men's Health. I went on vacation last week out to Denver, and because of Victory Men's Health, didn't miss a beat. They have those vitamin packs ready to go for me. They're all individually packed for each and every day. They send them to my house each month. That's what it looked like for me to unlock my inner champion. I was able to use their supplement shop. For you, it might look a little bit different. Maybe it's low testosterone symptoms that you're feeling. It could be weight loss goals. Maybe it's sexual health, or maybe you just want to learn more about their red light therapy programs. For all of that, you can go to their website today. It's at victorymenshealth.com. When you get there, you can put in your info, name, email, phone number, tell them BK with 101 ESPN sent you, and then tell them what it means for you to unlock your inner champion. It's going to be an unbelievably simple process. You'll go there that first visit. You'll have a licensed medical provider that'll go through all of your lab work with you, and then they'll be able to help you out with unlocking that inner champion. It's a personalized plan for each and every person. Check them out today at Victory Men's Health and online at victorymenshealth.com. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app. It's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
Big news, Taylor Swift is going to have an original song in Toy Story 5, which will focus on Jessie's flashbacks to her original owner after returning to her home.
Name her original owner.
The song is called I Knew It, I Knew You.
Name her original owner.
I do not know.
I think
T-Bone?
it's Sam, but that doesn't sound right.
No.
I have no
Do you
idea.
know it?
No, hell no.
Oh, I thought
Just
you
asking
did.
you to know it.
Are we going together to watch that?
Emily.
3 of us?
Her original owner is Emily.
See?
I'll be...
Just gave you guys a great trivia question next time you want to stump somebody.
You could be
I'm not going to Toy Story with you, Tanner.
Woody. You'll be Buzz. I'll be Bullseye.
The original song
You going to be the
Will
horse's
be
front
out.
or the back end?
on
I think I gotta
Friday.
be both. I guess I'll be the front. I don't want to be an ass.
That's a donkey, man.
My God, man. My God. All right, Cardinals back in action this evening. Michael McGreevy on the mound. They're taking on the Texas Rangers. Skip Schumacher back in town for the Rangers. They've been all right this year. Not great, though. But you got DeGrom on the mound for the Rangers. T-Bone, how you feeling going into this one?
I lean Texas 2 out of 3 just because the pitching lines up for him with DeGrom and Evaldi in this series.
And then Gore as well, which is not a terrible
lefties
starter.
have been a problem for the Cardinals. These teams are spitting images. I was looking at the numbers. The Cardinals and Rangers at both pitching and in the offense are like right next to each other in basically every statistical category.
I say the Cardinals win it. I think they keep the momentum going, and I think the offense continues to excel now with some replacement players. So I say they take 2 or 3.
Very interested to see how they match up tonight against Jacob DeGrom. If you want to go see a
get him,
future
Jimmy
Hall of
Crooks.
Famer, very cheap tickets available behind the plate tonight, so go check them out. T-Bone, you're going to the game
Yep.
tonight?
I'll be behind the green seats watching from behind home
See
plate.
if T-Bone goes tarps off on television.
For Alex and
They show
T-Bone,
me.
I'm
I'll have
BK.
to.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Fast Lane's next here on 101 ESPN.